Three, two, one. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to episode 285 of the KBMOD podcast. It is July 9th, 2017. And we're here yet again in your ears, in your eyes. Of course, if you're watching and listening to this live on twitch.tv/KBMOD. If you're listening to this in your car, on your Zune MP3 player, I know a lot of people still have Zunes and love them very much.
God.
Maybe, what else could you listen to it on? The radio? Maybe we're getting rebroadcast by NPR right now. Who knows, dude? I mean, the sky's the limit.
Serious Bluetooth radio broadcasting.
Yeah, exactly. Bluetooth radio. That could be a potential as well. But yeah, I've got no Brandon and no Brad this week, but we've got, of course, you heard KD. What's up, David?
Whoa. Yeah, you know what? I requested that, so I can't really make any reaction. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. What about you, Scott? Oh, I'm sorry, Robert.
There we go.
Oh.
There we go. I was waiting for the Robert to be pulled out right there. I'm doing great, David. Thank you for asking. Sincerely, wait, Robert Scott Fisher Jr. Wait, I don't have to sign off every time I say something.
That's sincerely, yeah, after every sentence.
Just state your full name after every sentence. It's like an over and out. Okay. But we've
People
also
that-
got we've got Yingity Yang who joined us for an episode in the past, but now you know what? He's just a good. I was like, if he's around, I love having Yang on the cast. How are you doing, Yang? How's it going?
I'm doing awesome.
Good.
And also, I guess my name is Ginobili now.
Yes.
As an established precast.
Precast.
Uh,
So for audio listeners, and if you guys are confused, we were joking in precast. I was saying that I know Ying's first name now. I mean, I've known it for a while. I just never refer to him by his first name. And then Yingity or David, aka KD, I can't do that the whole cast. KD was asking if we're like doxing Yingity by doing that, and he's like, "No, I haven't really kept it that much of a secret." But just for the sake of it being a normal conversation, we'll just stick to gamer handles. But that is like an inherently interesting discussion. Like, there's almost nobody among my friend group in LA that calls me Scott. Even my super close friends. Like, Sark never calls me Scott. Sark calls me APL. And I never call Sark Scott. I call Sark Sark. And he's like my best friend. And some people consider that to be like you go first name basis once you know people. But I think it really just depends on the person. But like almost all my friends call me APL in LA. Here it's a little bit different because there's a lot of family and stuff like that. Like my parents would think that's weird. What about you, Katie? Is it like, I guess your friend group... Your friend group
I
refer to you by
I
your
really
first
haven't
name.
made a.
That
Yeah,
would be
I don't
weird.
really live near anybody that I met originally online, so I imagine when I go to Extra Life, a lot of people like. It's weird to think that people are just gonna say, "Hey, KD," but
Yeah, that is that is what you're gonna get.
yeah, do you think it's going to be very different hearing that in real life? Like,
yeah, that's probably
because hearing it through your headphones is one thing.
Yeah, but hearing like I don't know. I feel like if I hype it up, it'll be like, "Oh my god, I'm this other persona that I've been living out." But
I think all the power's gonna like rush to your head, and you're gonna be like, "I am my god," because it's like kind of like it's like people are you're gonna have fans there, Katie. They're gonna come up to you and be like, "Hey, Katie, I'm a fan of your work." Seriously.
I'll correct them. Be like, say my full name. Katie's in 18, baby, please.
Yes, Mr. 18.
Do you even know what keyboard I have? God. Hit him with that one real quick. But that's good. I guess it is kind of a unique situation in that, like, if you work in a field where your gamer tag is basically what your public persona is, then that you run into it. Like, if you're just like you guys, I mean, obviously you have real jobs, so you don't like. You probably would be weird if somebody at work came up to you, Yang, and was like, "Hey, Yingity Yang." If they did that, I feel like you would think that's a thinly veiled threat. Like, we're going to expose you.
Yeah, that is what it would seem like, because a big part of my job is like I interact professionally with like education boards and principals and teachers, and it's like I don't know if I can just have Yingity Yang floating around.
Yeah, well, you're pretty. I have to say, you're a pretty. I mean, yes, you roll in some crowds with some rough people, me included, but you keep it pretty. You keep it generally pretty clean overall. I mean, I think you'd be okay. But
I'm sure I would survive.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. The thing is, where I work, I'm a lot closer with people I work with, and they actually know about my YouTube channel, and so, like I go on Twitch and stuff like that, and so they'll call me like Katie to like make fun of me or whatever. But I remember one time, somebody was trying to sell us their like Bluetooth speaker, and so like a friend of mine was like testing it out, and so to test it out, like we usually play like music or something just to see if it sounds okay. But he
Mhm.
started playing like one of my really old school videos in the store, and I just started, "Hey, what's up, guys? It's Dave."
Oh no! Oh,
And
that's
I'm
the
like,
worst.
"Oh God,
Oh, that's the
please
worst.
turn it off." He's like, "What? I'm testing a speaker." Oh, it was great. It was my Dead Space 2 tutorial.
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
"Please stop. The cringe is too much."
If you've made any kind of online videos and been around for any amount of time, I don't think there's anything that makes me cringe harder than hearing my own voice from like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like whether it's a Call of Duty commentary, whatever else people will link. Like, yeah, no, I have the same experience, Katie. It's brutal. There's almost, and I mean, I watch like half the time I'm watching really cringy stuff, but it's just when it's you're just like, oh my God, I sounded
Oh.
like that. I talked like that.
Yeah,
it's hard.
exactly. Even going back to like the first episode I was on the podcast and trying to listen to that, I can't. Like, I literally can't get through it because I'm like,
Yeah.
who are you? What are
Right.
you saying? That's not you.
Yeah,
It was
because
like-
you have to like fill it out. Like you get more comfortable as you go. Like it's just,
Yeah.
it's part of life, but
Right.
it's hard to go back. Yes, yeah, so like Cook in chat just said, Scott, I missed your Half-Life 2 playthrough on your infamous playthrough channel. It's like going back and watching that now would make me cringe
man.
super hard. But yeah, that playthrough channel still exists if you want to go find it. Hasn't been logged into in like 5 years, but go for it. All right, well, how's everybody's week been so far? Anything exciting to share? We'll talk about what we've been eating, which is I know is really the only thing people give a fuck about in this section anymore. I don't even think they care about what we've been doing. But that addition has been pretty nice. I think Brad added that a couple weeks ago. But anything crazy happen to you guys? I don't really have anything too nuts. Just obviously the ongoing pregnancy of not my pregnancy. My no, I'm doing great. But just Tab is getting further along and stuff. But it's been a cool experience so far. But yeah, I don't really have much in the way of like I didn't really go anywhere or do anything too crazy. But I know you did, Katie. Talk to me. Did you go clubbing or anything this week?
No, I didn't go clubbing.
Okay. Not this week?
Listen, dude.
Okay.
In 10 days, I will be legally able to go drink with people. So perhaps in that time, I'll be hitting the clubs.
Okay.
I'll be recruiting women.
Recruiting
you
them?
know.
Wait. Recruiting? Are you Coney?
No,
Hold on,
I'm
what are your
kidding.
plans?
Recruiting
just
child soldiers?
Today,
Okay.
you see how messed up that bed is? Just today, 30 women have been shuffled in and out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You
So,
can't see it, obviously, audio listeners, but Katie's camera is on his bed. It is a bit askew, and Chelsea, his dog, is laying on it, looking very cute. But
Of course.
absolutely.
But no,
like
it's
when
all
you
it's
say
all on
recruiting,
chess.
I'm getting like a scene from Pirates of the Caribbean where you're just seated at like an old wooden table and you got lineups of women trying to sign up to go on an adventure.
Oh god. Or like a character from Beacon. I guarantee it's none of that. It was all in jest.
Oh, I know. I just imagine you when you say recruiting women, I imagine you like in a fedora with like a brochure, and like the way that you try to pick up women at a bar is like you go up, do this little like parlor trick, and then the brochure falls in front of them, and they're like, and you're like, "Me lady," you tip your hat, and you're like, "Would you like to be recruited for an adventure?"
Oh my god.
And it's
The
just
brochure is
they're like, "What is going on?" You know what?
oh, that would be an amazing like real life prank gone wrong video. It's
Yeah,
like
it
if I
would.
go to a bar, like I've printed out brochures that are just me and like the
Yeah.
perks of like dating or going out with me, and it's just a bunch of corny like poses of me in like a suit, like casual leans on like the sides of like brick walls, and like talking about like can you imagine? Like I'm like
I mean, I
hey,
can.
Like, all your contact information is like book your date now and
expected wait time 2 to 3
expected
weeks.
wait times exactly. First come,
Yeah.
first serve.
You can bundle your package or whatever, and it's like if you want sex and brunch in the morning, that'll cost you a little bit more, but it's worth it. Oh man, yeah, this could be good. Okay.
You-
Do you think you're gonna
so-
do like a stamp card system as well for like recurring dates?
Right, yeah. If you get like 10 stamps, then
You get
Yeah.
eaten out after 10 steps.
yeah, basically.
All right.
There's like a whole, you know how like Kickstarters have like reward tiers? It's kind of like that. Like after 5 stamps, you just get like a casual thank you. After like 250 stamps, you get dinner with me.
Oh my god,
we
250 stamps. That's gonna be crazy. Are you okay?
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a lot of sex.
Yeah,
I
that's
was just gonna say. That's amazing.
All right, cool. Well,
All right. In all
Okay.
seriousness, I've been doing absolutely nothing this week.
Okay. Cool. That's fine. Hey, it's summertime. It's warm. How warm is it in Indiana? It's been pretty warm there. Or what's the temperature been?
Yeah, it's good. It's pretty hot. It's pretty sunny. It's around like 87, pretty much.
Yeah. What is it like?
But
Is it humid though, or is it like a not super humid 87?
um,
Because that's the thing on the East Coast is we get
a
the
little
humidity and it's just
yeah, that's the
suffocating.
worst. God, my parents actually went down to Florida a few weeks ago for a few days, and they were just talking about the humidity down there. Like
Mhm.
it feels like you're in an oven all the time. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I couldn't do it. If people live in Florida all year, honestly,
Yeah,
I
I will
couldn't do
never. I will never understand. All my experiences with Florida have always been just the oppressive heat, and the
it.
same thing. I was like, I could never do it. I should never say never though. I'm approaching that age where it's a retirement to Florida. What is that, like 32, 33? So I've got a few more years left before that. But okay, so
Right.
not too much going on with you this week. We'll get into the food stuff. But what about you, Yang? Anything too crazy happen?
No,
Pretty
nothing
chill?
too crazy. As always, I'm usually just pretty busy with work.
Yeah.
So especially this time of year, we're just sort of wrapping up a couple of things, but so no time for anything crazy.
Didn't you get a promotion recently? How's that going? Or a little while ago?
Yeah, sort of.
Mm.
One of our managers left for like one of our departments, and they just need someone to fill in the meantime. They actually offered me the job, and I don't want it. It's not a department that
Got
I
it.
have fun working in.
Mhm.
So I'm covering them for the summer while they try to fill in a couple of holes. But the result was a very nice raise in the meantime. So
Oh, nice. That's
yeah,
good.
so I mean, it's good to cover in at least like that. But as a result, nothing too busy. It's just sort of been transitioning into that, picking up other things around the museum.
Cool.
But
Okay.
yeah, nothing crazy, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you didn't know, well, it's always inherently interesting to me. I probably should preface this saying that Yang works at a museum. So, and every time I say museum, I just think of that line. You belong in a museum.
It
You
belongs in a
Or
museum.
it belongs
yes.
in a
Yep.
museum every single time. But yeah, that's cool. Okay. Well, that's good. What about? Well, if nothing too exciting has been happening in the way of, exciting. I guess I don't know why I keep coming back to clubbing. Why don't I give a fuck? I was about to say no one's been clubbing this week. Do I secretly want to go club? I don't think so. No, I've got that out of my
Have you been
system.
clubbing before?
I have been. Oh, I've in LA often, but
Okay.
not for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's
Because
going
that's something people don't. I've never been clubbing.
on. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh,
Are
that
you guys
okay. So
gonna go clubbing at TwitchCon?
well, this is this is gonna bring me. This is a perfect segue into the
yeah.
food stuff because
Exactly. I was just same thing.
like Ying's coming obviously to TwitchCon, Katie, and we always talk about on my stream, like we're always talking about food and just the disgusting amount of options available in America and all the chains that exist that don't exist in Canada or overseas. And Yang, I think you had a line that was pretty funny, but you were like, you haven't decided yet if you're going to be like a human
Yeah.
dumpster to just try everything.
Yeah,
Like-
because my two options are I treat this like a vacation and I have nice meals and I'm there to enjoy myself while I have the time, or alternatively I take advantage of the fact that I'm in the States and I visit all of the chains that we don't have here in Canada and I become a living dumpster for the weekend that I'm there.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm in favor of maybe a middle of the ground approach. I think you can make yourself like a moderately not disgusting, like a dumpster that is behind a business that's pretty well maintained, but it's
Yeah,
still
like
like
it
a
gets emptied
restaurant.
out every day.
Yeah, like it's still a restaurant dumpster. It gets taken out pretty much every day or every other day.
We can be one of those high class dumpsters.
So yeah, you could be like a high class dumpster. But yeah, I'm excited to have you try some. I think maybe we need to make like a list of stuff that like we talked about that you're
yeah.
like I can't get. So we'll find it.
The
Get
one
it
that's
for
coming to mind right now is In-N-Out. We do not have
Yes.
In-N-Out. At least if we do have In-N-Out in Canada, it's like one in like a major city somewhere, and that's going to
Okay.
be it. But
Sure.
I've never had In-N-Out. I've never seen one around.
In-N-Out's great. Man. In-N-Out's
IHOP. I've never been to an IHOP.
great. Okay. Well, that's.
I don't think
okay.
you're missing that much.
Yeah,
No? Okay.
we're a strictly Denny's cast here. So
Now we
Yes.
do have Denny's in Canada. So
okay,
that's...
gotcha. So it'd just be for the experience, so that you could taste what the inferior IHOP tastes like. So that that might be worth it. Just to see.
Alternatively, maybe Denny's in the States is better than in Canada. I don't know.
Could be too. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm very excited for that. But as far as did you have any food this week that you hadn't tried in a while or anything exciting? You can go too, Katie. I'm trying to think right now if I had anything
Well,
that stuck out.
I guess on a related note, there is a restaurant near me called Union Burger. I'm not sure if that also exists in the States.
No.
But their whole bit is sort of like it makes me think of Five Guys, except they try to be gourmet about their burgers.
Okay.
And they had one that's called All American.
Mm.
I was like, okay, cool. Like, I got to see what this is. And
You
all
got to
it is,
prep
it's-
for TwitchCon. So
Yeah, I know. I was trying to. It's like training. I was conditioning my body. It's 2 beef patties, onion rings, pulled pork, and barbecue sauce.
Wow.
And I wanted to get your take on that. Does that sound about right? Does that sound like it's worthy of being called All American? I feel like it's kind of an innocuous reference for.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
Canadian
those things
restaurants to
are.
make.
I mean, I guess like a barbecue. I mean, an onion ring is an onion ring inherently American? I guess it is kind of. I don't know. I mean, I know you can get other rings, onion rings, other places. I don't know where it originated, but I would expect. I don't know. I guess what do I think of when I think of like an? What do you think of when you think of like an all-American burger or American burger, Katie? I mean, those are some tenets of it. I think. Not like I'm somebody that like though I'm not a huge fan of burgers that have like more than. Like when you start getting more than like 4 or 5 ingredients on a burger, like and
You
things
think it
that
just like sort of loses the.
you kind of like it kind of loses focus. Like I'm cool with like if they really narrow it down and focus on like 3 or 4 flavors that work really well. But a lot of times you mask like if you have a really good burger, you don't need to do that much with it if the meat's really good, if it's cooked well. I'm not talking so much about like the vegetable side, but it's more when it's like we've got mac and cheese and pulled pork and barbecue sauce and onion rings and we threw on a jalapeno poppers. It's like okay, now we're getting a little crazy. But how was the burger?
It was very good. I felt a little bit gross afterwards. It was very greasy. Yeah, I don't know. It was fine. My concern, I guess, was that like I don't know if this really an all-American burger? Am I getting like a subpar experience?
Yeah, I don't. That's a great question because I don't really know what I would define. One in chat, Zombie saying that there's no bacon. I feel like bacon is a pretty.
Oh, sorry, it did have bacon.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. What kind of did you say? Did it have cheese? Did it have like any cheese on it?
Yeah, it did. I think it was like a pepper jack cheese
Pepper jack? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, there's different takes. I mean, America has
because like my curiosity is if there's like an American restaurant that makes like an all Canadian burger. It's like what is that consist
now that
of?
would be interesting. The all Canadian. I mean,
You think that's just,
poutine.
like-
Poutine on it.
Yeah, it would be a poutine burger maybe with like pea meal bacon.
Okay. I would be down to try a Canadian burger. I mean, I've never had poutine. We really need to.
Wait, I'm sorry, you've never had poutine?
I've never had poutine before. I know you can get it in the U.S. or there's places that do it, but I've never been to Canada, believe it or not. So,
Okay.
I need to do like a Canadian food tour. I've watched enough
Yeah.
like Food Network shows and stuff where they go to Canada and like Anthony Bourdain and stuff.
If you
And
really want to get like good Canadian food too, though, you have to go to Quebec. Like
Okay.
like that is where a lot of like the really good. That's where you get like Montreal smoked meat, really good poutine, beaver tails. Like you'll find it all in Quebec.
beaver tails. Holy shit. Okay.
Okay, well, sorry, it's not literally beaver tails.
I got real. I was like, maybe I'm not coming to Canada. I don't know if I could eat beaver
They're
tails.
not just like cut up. You're lopping off beaver tails and selling them out of the ice rink. It's basically a big flat churro.
Oh, okay. Oh, that sounds. I love churros. Churros are one of my favorites.
It's a large flat churro. Is basically what a beaver tail is.
Oh, hell yeah.
I didn't even think about maybe if you didn't know what that was.
I'm so naive. I mean, you could have told me anything about Canada. I would have been like, oh, they eat beaver tails.
You're just lopping off beaver tails.
That's great. Okay. That sounds interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think that like checks off at least most of or a lot of the boxes of at least what is perceived, I suppose, as an American burger. But I do think an onion ring, barbecue sauce, definitely it has bacon on it. I mean, the cheese, the pepper jack, I guess. I mean, a lot of times when you see an all-American burger, at least from the places around here, it'll just say like the standard or whatever. Like if you go to a burger place, it'll have like some kind of like burger sauce on it, almost like a Big Mac sauce. Something similar to that. There's like a lot of places regionally. So I don't remember the exact ingredients that are in like a Big Mac sauce, but it's like a mix of, I think it has like mayo, I think it's ketchup, mustard, or like a relish that's mixed in too, something like that. So a lot of places around here, if they have like an American burger or a lot of their standard burgers will have a very similar kind of setup to like a Big Mac, which I'm not saying Big Mac is like the most American burger, but I see that as a sauce that happens a lot. And they can
sorry,
vary.
I did miss one, and this was one that I think I've said to people before, and they're like, "What? You actually do that?" Just in the chat, maple syrup on snow. That is actually a thing where you just have hot maple syrup and you lay it on a tray of snow, and it hardens the maple syrup, and you just eat this sort of like semi-frozen maple syrup.
What?
Wow, that sounds.
And I'm not kidding. It is really, really good because usually they do that at like maple farms. So it's like really fresh and like really good maple syrup, and then it's just like freshly, not frozen, but like congealed, I guess, because you just laid it on some snow. It is very, very, very good.
Huh. Okay.
I'm definitely down to try that too.
You know what? That's what I've got to do for when we come down to TwitchCon. I'm gonna try to see if I can bring like 6 or 7 just small bottles of maple syrup.
Oh hell yeah!
From a maple farm around here, and I'll bring them down and I'll hand them out to the first 6 people that I meet.
Very cool. I'm actually just looking up the McDonald's Big Mac sauce, and it basically tastes like Thousand Island dressing, which I already kind of knew. If you've ever had a Big Mac before, I think but I don't know exactly what's in it. But it's basically mayonnaise, excuse me, mayonnaise, pickle relish. So I was right. Mustard, spices, and a bunch of sugar, and so that's at least what the ingredients are listed as. But which is anyway, kind of amounts to kind of a Thousand Island tasting sauce. And there's a lot of other, like, even if you go to like a diner or like some other chains, they have a very similar version of that kind of burger. Anyway, but okay, yeah, bring that maple syrup.
I will.
Super down.
I'll make sure to do that.
I'm super down. Katie,
are you going to? Oh, by the way, are you going to Extra Life Land? Or Yang? Fuck, I just called you Lan. What?
I am the Lan.
Are you going Lan?
Are you going to Ying Lan?
Am I going to YingCon? No, I have no information about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose that's kind of
I think that probably went out to the KBMOD stream team, right? I think those were the people that were invited.
Yeah,
right,
I think so. Yeah, it was exactly. Wow, wow, Katie, way to make it. You're gonna bring up the KBMOD land. He didn't get an invite, dude. You're gonna do that live,
sorry,
dude? Wow,
Hey,
Katie.
I don't control.
I'm stopping the cast. This is too savage. I can't
It's
do it.
over.
No,
Thanks
Ying
for
would
watching, I guess.
definitely be invited, for sure if he's on the. I mean, Ying's always invited no matter what, but no, it'll be good to see Ying at TwitchCon, and that means Katie that you need to come to TwitchCon as well.
Yeah, Katie, are you coming to TwitchCon?
I have not given it thought.
Listen,
That sounds like a yes to me.
Start putting money away, man. Just start socking it away. Sock it away.
No promises, but I'll see.
Okay, that's non-committal, but
I'll save
just keep.
I'll save a bottle
Honestly, I
of
feel
maple
like
syrup for you.
we would just need some good peer pressure of Katie to come to TwitchCon, and it might help. Peer pressure
It'll work.
is good.
Yeah, if I'm given enough shit, then I will immediately.
And I didn't really eat anything of note this week to share. So, Katie, did you end up ever trying the naked chicken chips?
Oh fuck!
Katie,
No.
that was your
I forgot,
homework,
dude.
dude.
Oh, I blew it.
All right. Well, I don't know if they're still around at Taco Bell, but if they are, you got to try to get it in before, just so that we can all have tried them. And I'm assuming, did you? I think you've said you haven't eaten you don't eat fast food at all, Yang, or you've stayed away from it.
I have
pretty much?
I have like a yearly Wendy's burger, and that's about it.
That's about it. Gotcha.
At least you're going to the right place.
I know, right? That's
a strong choice.
at least the time that I do go for it, I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
No, I made the decision to like not eat fast food a long time ago.
Smart decision. Can't blame you. Can't blame you. APL
And
telling...
what's funny is that like after just like a year of not doing that, now that I do have like after that one Wendy's meal, I feel disgusting. Like my body can't handle that, which I think says a lot about the food. Like I feel physically sick afterwards.
Yeah, you've like detoxed after a year, so yeah, your body doesn't know what's about to hit it, and then...
yeah, they're like, what is this?
What are you doing to us? Totally. Okay, cool. Well, what have we been playing this week? What's been on? You said, Katie, you haven't been doing much, so I'm assuming that you've been playing a bunch of games, or am I wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been playing, games here and there. I didn't play too much of it, but I picked up the new Crash trilogy on PS4.
Nice.
I don't know if did I already talk about this last week or no?
Did we talk about
Oh, you know what? I bought it last week, but I hadn't played it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I played it, and honestly, I immediately jumped to the third game because that was the one I played the most as a kid. And that game is a lot harder than I remember it being. Like I know that nothing's really been changed, but God, that game you just have to be very precise. And I just remembered something did get changed. It's something where, excuse me, it's something where if you look at footage from the original game and footage from the new one, they kind of rotated the camera upwards a bit so that like more of the environment can be shown off. But also it makes it a little harder to kind of judge where your jumps are going compared to the first game. I mean, if you played a lot of the first game, it's kind of hard to get used to. But I mean, it's not a huge deal breaker or anything. It's all very possible. But it's kind of it's very tough. It's very frustrating. Like you'll make small mistakes and you'll die, and I'm not used to that. You know, these current modern games, the modern gamer just there's if there's one thing to be said about Crash Bandicoot, it's not missionary precision gaming. It's very
No.
hardcore.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not gonna babysit.
I love it. I love that I
It's-
said that once, and that you've really adopted missionary position gaming. You make a point to say it as much as you can, and I think it will eventually become a thing, Katie. I believe it. Just keep using it. I appreciate it.
We'll see. Yeah, once it blows up, we'll share equity on it. Like you created it, but I'm the one pushing it. So we've
Exactly.
gotta
And I think
decide that.
it comes to mind right away. It's like missionary position gaming, kind of like, plain, boring, easy, perhaps not terrible, like not garbage. It gets the job
Mainstream
done.
maybe.
But yeah, Crash is definitely like that anal DP, stuff. Like it definitely messes with you. So how many hours have you put into Crash at this point?
I wouldn't say too much because I've mostly been playing other things, so I've just kind of dabbled a little bit here and there because I wanted to I've started other games, so I want to kind of finish them up before I really dedicate a lot of time to it. But for what I did play, it's really just been a lot of the third game, and it's playing some of those levels over again. And I know this sounds like cheesy, and you will hear all of the major review outlets say this, but going through and seeing the levels that I played countless times as a kid, like I was wowed so much. Like the level where you're on the wall of China riding the tiger.
Yes, that one's amazing.
That, oh my god, in HD, like on PS4 graphics, looks fucking incredible. Like, that was great. Because I played that level like over and over, like as a kid. So it looks great.
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Cool.
And apparently, I'm seeing in chat that speedrunners have clarified that it's harder because the jump is slightly shorter.
Oh, okay.
That is interesting.
Very interesting. So maybe all those alarmist articles about how Crash Bandicoot was the Dark Souls of the platforming genre aren't that ill-founded, perhaps. Who knows?
Could be true.
I mean, to be fair, it'll be interesting. I haven't played, like you said, I haven't played the franchise since I was a kid, but I do remember it being very very rough, even as a kid.
It was definitely tough. Yeah.
Cool. All right. What else have you been playing besides Crash?
Other than that, I talked last week about that game, Danganronpa, the visual novel Mirror Mystery.
Yes.
I finished that and started the sequel to that because they had a sale where you could a bundle of the first and second game, and the third one's coming out in September. So getting caught up on that, and both of those games so far have just been really spectacular. Like really good stories, really fun. Like it's just. And last night I was actually playing it with a bunch of people who were at the same place I was. So like all of us coming over and like looking at trying to solve the mystery for ourselves it's much better than just playing it by yourself because like a lot of realizations come quicker when like 5 people are with you thinking about it.
Right.
And you've got somebody kind of validate with you. It's really cool. Like were you here when I was talking about it, APL? Were you here last week?
Yeah, I was here last week. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I feel like that would be a good game for you to stream. Like it's a visual novel, so it's just a lot of reading, but
is the story's pretty entertaining?
Yeah, it's a really strong story.
Okay.
And like the way you solve the mysteries are like people will be debating, and like when you find evidence, the evidence is like your bullets, and it's all very anime, over the top, super ridiculous, but it's also like it's like serious when it needs to. Like you'll listen to people talk and you'll look for like contradictions they say, and you'll fire the right evidence at that, and so like stop them on for I don't know, but it's very entertaining. It's a really good game.
Cool.
But you see, other than that, a couple more. I've played through the entirety of Titanfall 2.
Nice.
After hearing from a lot of people last year that it was really good, but neglecting to try it out, and that was just a really awesome single player campaign. Like you played it, Ing? Oh,
yeah,
man.
I played Titanfall 2 almost upon release.
Awesome.
I loved it.
Oh yeah, really good single player. In a lot of ways it kind of reminded me of like maybe Metal Gear Solid 3 when like villains get introduced and they have like their it's kind of like tricky to describe the relation, but like when the boss battles happen, the camera will switch over and show you, like they'll monologue to the camera and their name will pop up, and it's kind of cheesy but in a really cool way. And it's the AI is really smart and really great level design with the wall running and everything.
Yeah.
And
I
especially
also.
that level. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think you're supposed to go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that level with the time travel mechanic is incredible.
Yeah, I was about to say that it may be one of the coolest first-person shooter levels I've ever played.
Oh yeah, it was mind blowing. But yeah, and I tried the multiplayer for a bit, but I was playing it on PS4, so I didn't really want to put in the time to kind of like get good, I guess. So I'm not really gonna fault the multiplayer or anything.
Hmm.
But there's just something not fun about, the whole enemy team having 6 Titans at once, fucking me up. But then again, I gotta get good. I need to, but I did like what they did with the multiplayer. There are a lot of weapons, and in a lot of ways, Titanfall 2, like when I remember when the first gameplay for Titanfall dropped, the first game at E3, people were losing their minds about it. And when it hit me when I was playing Titanfall 2 that this is what I wanted from the first game. This is what I've wanted all this time. So, like
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because I feel like the first game came out, it had all that hype. It wasn't a terrible game, but it was, like you said, it was not what 2 is and what people really wanted. And that this game, it came out and it was just this flash in the pan, but it's like by all accounts, like everyone I've talked to has said that the single player was fantastic. And that even the multiplayer is good, but I feel like there's not any. I mean, I don't know the player stats, but it kind of feels like forgotten. Do you know what I mean? Like already, like it's like gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not really sure why that is either. Like, it's still a very good game.
It's getting DLC, and fortunately, being made by Respawn, they're going to be, what's the word? They're willing to put a player counter in their game. They don't give a fuck.
Right.
And on PS4, it's hovering around 5,000 active players, which is kind of like,
it's not terrible.
Which is a little low for consoles, but
yeah,
the way you do matchmaking of that is really fun because it's like the way you find a playlist is just you just hit play mixtape, and it's like all the different game modes are listed at the bottom, and you just check and uncheck which ones you want to play and don't play. And then also when you join, just when you log in, you're in a room with everybody else playing, and you can just start a match, and you'll get invites all the time from other people to play certain game modes. So it's really, really easy to match up with people and play certain things in that game. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, finally, other than that, have any of you played a game called Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time?
I can't say I have.
Can I just ask you, did you think that question was going to be met with a yes by any chance?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Let me enlighten you people.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, and I mean this truly dead ass, the best local co-op game I've ever played in my life.
Local co-op.
It is that good. So it's up to 4 people. At least you gotta have at least 2. It's you're playing this. You're these really adorable little guys in space. Like these, it's kind of, I guess it's a platformer. I guess like when it comes down to it, it's you're a little guy platforming around a ship, which is like this giant circle, and there are different rooms, and you're piloting the ship, and the people playing are your crew, and it's like the ship has 4 cannons on it. It's got a shield you got to rotate, and then there's also an engine where you rotate it around and like move around the ship, and your goal is to like move through these levels where like and then fly through space and like look at your map and talk with everybody around you, like, okay, well, where are we going to go next? We want to go up into this unclouded area, or you're trying to rescue all these little bunnies and get enough to like open the gate to clear the level, but you can also like, oh, do we want to explore a little more? We can get upgrades, and it gets very frantic. I convinced everybody to play on the hardest difficulty, and even with 4 people playing, it's so nerve-wracking because you'll get swarmed by enemies, and you're trying to like. I'm normally on the shield, and I catch a lot of shit for that. Because like that, sometimes the shield can rotate slowly, but it's just I feel like that would be something that we have to play at Extra Life because it's really fun, and it's a really good concept,
Well, and say the title again for people that want to have some fun with their friends on local co-op.
Yeah, with your friends, with your boyfriends,
Yeah, your girlfriends, your non-gender, non-binary friends as well.
Yeah, exactly. Your frogs, don't even have to limit it to certain races,
No, your wolves, your zers and your zizzers and your zizzer grizzlies. Any of them. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
what was the name of it?
Shit. I'm not. I'm not quick enough to think of. I was trying to think of a way to fit in "You Ain't Grizz, Baby," but
Oh, okay. I thought you totally blanked on the name of the game. I was like, oh no.
Oh no, never. It's called Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time.
Okay.
I got it for free on PS4 when it was like one of the free PS Plus games, but
Right.
it's on Steam, retail for $15. Goes on sale a lot. You guess you'll have to wait for. Damn, we just missed the summer sale. I should have played it earlier. But yeah, phenomenal game.
Very cool.
But
All
yeah,
right.
that's it.
All right. What about you, Yingity? Have you been having much time to game? Well, I
Yeah,
played with you a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I always hop into Counter-Strike
Yeah.
or what else I've been playing? Mostly Counter-Strike, but I did I think maybe a week or two ago I played through a game called Transistor.
Oh,
Dude, Katie is going to. If you guys ever meet in real life, he is just going to attack you and make passionate love to you, because
That seems like a recurring theme.
no, it really
Yeah,
is. Because Katie, like, he always wants to talk about Transistor. I mean, Brandon talked about it a bit, but I haven't played it. But now you play Transistor. He was raving about how good Titanfall 2's campaign was. You played that, dude. You better watch out. He's coming for you. Coming for that booty.
dude, are you single or? Anyways, talk about Transistor, baby. I want to hear it.
Go for it.
So, in case anyone's not familiar with that game,
The game sucks.
yeah, it's sort of like a sci-fi RPG, very artsy game, which always catches me. I love when games have like a very unique art style, when they have like a lot of effort into the soundtrack, of which this game put a lot of effort into it. I'm not really sure the best way to describe the gameplay, because it's very unique. It's real time, but you also have this ability that sort of lets you queue up a bunch of actions almost in a turn-based kind of manner. And you're just trying to essentially work your way through this city that seems to be based on computers. Like, it makes a lot of references to like nodes and access points, and you're sort of like living in this cyber world, I guess. But the art style is gorgeous. It's all like has a very hand-drawn feel to it, and there's a very big emphasis on the music that plays throughout the game. It has been maybe one of the coolest game mechanics I've ever seen. Just the way that they have you planning your attacks around these enemies that would otherwise, it's like bullet hell, a bullet hell kind of game, but it lets you plan around certain types of enemies, knowing how they behave, and incorporating sort of like an ability tree in a way. I don't know how much to describe the game after that, other than it also has maybe one of the coolest boss fights that I've ever encountered in a game. Which I'm not sure if this counts as a spoiler or not, but basically what's giving you your ability to queue up attacks and have the edge over people by like stacking up what you want to do and executing it on a single sort of turn, even though it's real time, is this big sword called the Transistor. I think is the sword called the Transistor? I think it is. Yeah. And you encounter at the very end someone else who also has the abilities of the Transistor, and so you're sort of locked in this weird battle where he stops time and he hits you up with whatever he wants, and then you stop time and you have to hit him with what you want and try to stack your abilities so that in that weird exchange you come out on top. But what stood out more from the game from anything else was it has such an amazing art style. It was a beautiful, beautiful game. And the way they incorporated the soundtrack is also very interesting. And it has sort of a fragmented storytelling as well. It sort of starts you off in the middle of the plot, and then you sort of learn more as you go by interacting with consoles and listening to dialogue. Cool. But it was a very good game. I streamed the entirety of it. I have to actually dive more into what is the company called that makes that?
Supergiant Games.
Supergiant Games. I have to look more into their games because I've been told now, since I enjoyed Transistor so much, I have to play Bastion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I have not played yet. So that's sort of next up.
Yeah, and their newest game, Pyre, is coming out in August, early August.
Yes, that's the other one that people have been telling me to check out. So I certainly have a bit of a queue going on, because that company has sold me on their games just with Transistor alone.
Absolutely. Like, after playing both of those, I've never been so sure of a game with Pyre.
ITW after finishing both those games.
Absolutely.
Katie? Yeah.
Oh yeah, all the time. Multiple times throughout Transistor. Maybe not so much in Bastion, but Bastion was one giant ITW.
Mm.
And if you're unfamiliar, that means instant trouser wetness.
Yes.
Okay,
It's very
good. I was
important.
missing out on that terminology.
Oh, sorry.
I
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
something along those
It's from
lines.
Katie's casting personality. He came up with instant trouser wetness to describe moments that are just very epic that cause you to, of course, soil your trousers.
Yes.
With the baby batter, I believe, is what we're going for there.
Batter.
Okay.
Daycare.
Well,
I'm assuming it's not pee. Actually, I can confirm. Right, it's not pee we're talking about.
It's absolutely not pee. It's
Okay.
another mysterious substance
Got
that
it.
can be found in pants and
Ectoplasm, I think, as they described it on South Park. Randy described it as ectoplasm, the ghosts.
right.
Cool. Okay.
yeah.
So, yeah. Go ahead.
Other than that, I've been playing a little bit of Rising Storm 2 Vietnam, which is my first time ever playing a Rising Storm game. So
Yeah.
I've been having a lot of fun with that too. I think the gunplay is pretty unique, but I don't have too much to say about that. I haven't had a lot of time in it yet.
Okay, well, that'll perfectly transition into, because I'll go what I've shared. Yes, I played a little bit of Rising Storm. I think I have, I can tell you right now how many hours I have in it. Not a ton. I have about 5 hours in the game so far, so it's not a massive sample size. But I have enjoyed my time with it. I thought it would be a little bit more put together than what the product is right now, just considering that it's tripwire and stuff like that. And I do like it. People take the role play in that game somewhat seriously. It'll depend. You'll get the people that are just trolling and doing the Vietnam voices, Vietnam people voices, but then you'll also have people that are, the commanders barking the orders, wants to make sure everybody is in the same mindset and stuff like that. So there's a lot of fun opportunities for trolling in that game or getting trolled. And I think my top moment, I think you were there, Yingity, for I was role playing as a GI who decided to defect and join the Vietnam side, and so I was saying hey, I'm your brother. It's like fuck the United States, stuff like that. And there was a guy who really did not like that in the stream session that we were going, and he lashed out at me and basically insinuated that I was a pothead, which I'm not, and that I was high and that I was very unfunny, and that I should, instead of picking up the bong, his quote was, "Put down the bong and pick up a book." Was his actual quote to me. And we thought at first maybe he was kidding, and we kept pressing the issue, and it turned out that he really had a problem with people, as he described it, abusing marijuana. And it was apparently, eventually, I played for a bit, and we were having fun with it. And then apparently I left, and then he got kicked. He got vote kicked from the server.
Yeah,
so.
he got vote kicked.
So much for that.
I mean,
Wow.
and of all people to get vote kicked, the reason was griefing and trolling.
That's right. That's right.
And he's like the only one trying to fight against this just horrible sea of people yelling, "Go home, GI, go home!"
Right.
People.
Exactly.
Like all kinds of racial slurs, and of all people, he gets kicked.
Right. Well, that's
man.
the other thing he said. That's the other thing he said was that, and he was like definitely kind of perturbed, and he said that he was like, he used the term weed party, like I don't go to weed parties, and we were like, what are you talking about? I've never a weed party. He's like, no, I don't go to weed parties. And we were just dying. It was great. So
This
anyway,
sounds incredible.
For moments like that, yeah, you can actually watch that VOD, Katie. If you go and look for I don't know what day it was, but you could find it towards the end of whatever my last 2 streams ago. There's some gold there.
I'm definitely gonna look that up.
So anyway, that game's fun. No, I do enjoy it. Definitely a lot more hardcore. Like you said, I like the gunplay. It's a fun change of pace.
Yeah.
But there's some annoying stuff in the game, like the helicopter audio glitch and some other stuff, and it can be... Anyway, I feel like it doesn't really run that well for a game that, at least for me, I mean, it runs okay, but for a game that is on an older engine, it looks like, and it seems pretty taxing on the system, and I guess that makes sense just because of the size of the servers, like 64 players. So, and it's multiplayer, so I can understand the coding issues there, but
I think what the biggest difference was in terms of like making the game feel unique was that it feels odd to say, but actually getting shot is lethal. Like
yes,
getting
true.
hit by once or twice by any gun at any range will usually put you down.
Exactly.
Which is very satisfying if you can pull off those shots, but also kind of frustrating, I guess, if you're not used to that kind of a game. And you're just, you're basically spawning going into a field and dying from who knows where.
Right. So yeah, so definitely some Rising Storm 2, some Counter-Strike always on the docket, some Battlegrounds. Haven't actually really messed much with the new patch since Thursday. I've heard that there was quite a bit of server issues. Have you guys played any PUBG since the Thursday patch?
No, I have not. I usually play it when there's
Yes.
like a full party already made, so
Yeah.
I haven't had much of a chance to hop on.
And we're actually going to talk
Yeah.
about teaser. We're going to talk about some PUBG very soon in the news section. Some nice little
Ooh.
tidbits. But sorry, Katie, what were you saying? Did you say you had played
Oh,
it?
yeah, I played it a bit. You're talking like since the monthly update, right?
Since the monthly, but then there was like just a small like performance patch I think Thursday that went out. That I don't know. People were saying the servers were a little bit fucky the last couple days.
Okay.
So
I don't think I've played it after that, but we've definitely. I remember when you and I played, we ran into like server issues that we've never had before. Like we got fully desynced from a game
Yep.
one time.
yeah, we did have some issues too, even from that patch.
Yeah.
You're right. And then also oh boys. Okay. I mean, you guys know, but I am 97% through the infectious madness of Dr. Decker. Okay. And I think I've talked about this game in the past, but it's an FMV text parsing game where you're trying to solve a mystery, figure out what the fuck is going on in this practice with this doctor named Dr. Decker, who was supposedly killed by one of his patients. And anyway, the caveat here is I'm doing a no hint run, which is to say that if you get stuck in the game, you can type hint and it will basically give you a lead. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm assuming obviously it points you to like keywords and lines of dialogue that you should use to progress the story. Well, the average completion time of this game is 8 hours. And I want to tell you how many hours I have not using hints in this game. And this is with chat, by the way, helping as well.
Oh,
I mean,
shit.
I'm not playing this by myself. I have 26 hours in the
my
infectious
God.
madness of Dr. Decker. I have an achievement that 0.04% of people have, which is like, I think it's like over 3,000 questions asked. And then there's also an achievement that we're going for, which is the no hint run, which is like barely anybody has it. But would you believe, KD, that I found out looking through the achievements that you get more achievements for using hints than not using hints?
Oh,
That is so.
my God.
Yeah, there's an achievement for using a hint once, and then there's an achievement for using 100 hints. There is one achievement for not using hints at all. It's like, why would you? It's anyway. So we are 3%. We have 3% left to complete the game, and I'm doing that tomorrow. It's the first thing I'm gonna try to knock out, and it has been an absolute just. It's like I think it's the true way that you were supposed to play the game, because if you truly use no hints and really like stick to your guns, like I'm questioning. Like there were multiple sessions where I've been questioning my sanity. Like and I just have to walk away, or I'm like, I'm losing my fucking mind, and I think the game's working. Like, am I nuts? Did that just happen? Like, this line of questioning doesn't make any sense, and then some. Anyway, I cannot wait to be done with it, but I will never get those 26 hours back. Probably soon to be 27, 28. We're very close to finishing the game, but we're right now at a section where there's only. We've pretty much asked almost all the questions that I could think of to ask all of the patients, and I don't know where to go next. But we're gonna finish that tomorrow. So, Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker will be completed without any hints, over 3,000 questions, and I just hope it's worth it at the end, because I don't know what the ending is either. I feel like the ending's gonna tilt me really bad. So there's a possible, I think there's 5 or 6 endings you can get at the beginning of the game. It randomly assigns who like the killer is, from what I understand. So that's already been predetermined. So
it's random.
And it's random. Yes, it's random. So
Really?
so I don't know who it's going to be. Like, you have to try to guess. I have an idea of who it is. But even to get to that point, we're not even there yet. We're still questioning these goddamn just psychotic. Anyway, it's been an experience. So I'm looking forward to having that completed. Yeah. And other than that, I think that's it. Oh, NBA Playgrounds. Okay, you know how, guys, I was talking about NBA Playgrounds and how I really enjoyed it, and I was like, it's worth the $20 price tag, because it really is a fun basketball game.
Yeah, you love that game.
I do. It's a lot of fun. But would you believe that there literally, when I went to play it this last Thursday, there were 0 people online.
Oh, that's the worst
God.
feeling. dude.
Literally check the Steam servers. Someone checked the Steam servers. There were 0 people online. The only way I could play was having other people who owned it get into a lobby with me. And
I know how that feels. I've been through that, man.
It's such
Oh
a
my
shame, because the game is not. It's fun. It is a really fun basketball game, and they just have terrible marketing. I mean, they had a bunch of these YouTubers that are actually pretty big in like the sports Game World like promote it, but even they could. I don't know what's. I don't know if people are playing it on console. If it's on console, I think it's on the PlayStation, for sure. Maybe on Xbox,
man.
but there's no. The PC community has totally died.
Oh, it's too bad. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Playing 27 minutes ago, 24 players.
There we go.
With a 24-hour peak of 74 players. All time of only 600.
I know, dude.
Shit, dude.
Wow.
It's bad.
It's
So
not good, dude.
yeah, and depending on your time of day, like if it's during like when I start streaming and people are still at work, like or school. I guess it's summer. But that's the other thing, is that it's summer. You would think one little mongoloid during the time I tried to play, like 1 or 2 of them would have been online. I sat in a queue for like 15 minutes or something on Thursday, and then until I just gave up and was like, yeah, just join my private game.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, classically, has any sport game really been successful on PC? I feel like that's a very console-oriented genre.
No, you're absolutely right. PC games in general aren't really. Mostly they're played on console. So, yeah, it looks like from chat the console is definitely more populated, which makes sense. It's just cross-platform play. Nova, I totally agree, would have been massive. Like, I feel like if you're going to do this and you give I mean, it probably is not worth it to them because they probably aren't really super worried about their PC audience because they know that console is going to be their bread and butter. But that would just go a long way to making it a lot more like just to have people to play with. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Anyway,
I don't know if you remember that game Microgons I was going on about. It's like the 3D kind of chess where all the pieces have abilities. Do me a favor. I want you to guess what the all-time peak of players for that game is.
All time.
It started at $5 and it's free to play right now. All-time peak. What do you think?
I'm gonna say 40, 50.
Okay. 9. Oh! Oh, sorry, I didn't let you guess, dude. My bad. But yes, 0 playing 4 hours ago. 24-hour peak of 0 players. All-time peak of 9. That's just
that's rough.
Utter shame. I made a video called like the best game you can't play because like Microgons, literally the only way you can play that is like practice against the AI. And it's like chess, and there's no way to play it with somebody like sitting next to you unless they start up their copy of the game on their computer. But dude, I know how that. It's such these competitive indie games. I mean, these multiplayer indie games are like so tricky because they're all fighting over people's time.
Right.
You know, like it's a really tough market to get people's attention. Like, man, it's just a shame. So yeah, I know what that's like, dude. That sucks.
It sucks. It's a sad day. I mean, I guess the plus side is, that you can play local.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, I do want to. Someone in chat said like the 9 players are actually devs. I did actually play with a dev one time.
Oh,
like the developer of the game. I was like, hey, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm just testing out a new update. I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry to.
You have a pretty good relationship with devs, especially when it comes to like Orion Dino Beatdown, right? I remember every time you'd be in a game or when you were showing us around, it was a dev, right? It was one of the devs.
Yeah, the last. I'm not. Let me look it up. But I know factually twice of the times I streamed Extra Life and did like the first time I did 24 hours of Orion Dino Beatdown, and the next time I did like a good 8-hour session. I've consistently gotten $100 donations from David Prassel, the lead dev of that game. So I know there's a lot of sketchy shit to say about that guy, but
hey,
let's hold that.
At least he's covering his tracks with charity. It's good.
Yes,
good work.
yeah, definitely,
for sure.
But
okay.
No, don't mind the stealing assets or anything like that.
No.
Yeah,
but hey,
don't worry about it.
I mean, it's true. I mean, money for charity is money for charity. So,
yeah. And never mind that he probably got the money from a GoFundMe that he.
I know. I was just gonna say that.
Anyways,
I was like, but you know what? It still goes
it,
to a good cause. If you got your money stolen from him, at least it went to some sick kids. I guess you can't get super mad.
Listen, dude, this guy filled out his own GoFundMe. All right. Let's get off topic.
Yeah, let's get off that topic.
I don't want to burn any bridges.
Yeah, let's
I don't want to burn any bridges. David Prassel, if you're watching this.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he's watching right now, he's like, you were his one dude who was on his side, Katie. And now he's like, well, fuck this guy. I won't even give him a key for my next game.
Oh, no. That's why I was hesitant to say I don't remember whether or not he donated $100. I need to look that up. Because it's just been like last Extra Life I played it.
Right.
But
no,
I need to confirm that.
Damn, dude. You better, we'll have to leave this VOD. So, well.
Yeah, we'll have to wipe it.
It's all good.
Damn.
All right. Let's move on to some news here. And the first thing I want to talk about, just because we were talking about Battlegrounds a little bit just in passing earlier, and some of the patch stuff, is that so our very own Player Unknown had talked a little bit earlier in the week about the fact that they are really the team Bluehole is really insistent on having this game be finished in about 6 months, right? And this is something that we've heard a lot from Player Unknown, that they're not going to be in early access for a long time, that they really want to get this game done in 6 months, and he reiterated that earlier this week. Well, shortly after the interview with Rock Paper Shotgun, where he again, Brendan Green reiterated 6 months, it turns out that he had to eat his words a bit. He says that it now seems it might have been a touch over ambitious of him, because he issued this statement. Today, I want to update everyone on PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds progress through early access. The amount of support and feedback we have received from our community has been incredible. I want to thank you all for your bug reports, feedback, and suggestions. And as you read this, right, even though you know where this is going, you're like, okay, he's buttering us up. Okay, I feel, you're welcome, PlayerUnknown. As we continue to fix bugs, improve gameplay, and add new content, it's important for us to deliver you a fully realized and polished Battle Royale experience as we look towards launch. I mean, doesn't H1Z1 already exist? Just kidding. Over the past few months, I have done a lot of interviews, and in many of them, I said we hope to be out of early access 6 months after we first launched. I've come to realize that restricting the window to a specific month could hinder us from delivering a fully featured game and or lead to disappointment within the community if the launch deadline is not met. So we have decided that we are going to push the full launch back a bit from the initial 6 month time frame, but want to assure you that we are still planning a full release before the end of Q4 2017. So we will continue to push updates, blah, 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 until full launch. Thank you. So that news, it's out there. Your guys' thoughts. Does this concern you at all when you saw this? First impressions.
No, I think this is actually a very, very good thing. I think this shows that there's a lot of communication internally within this company. That basically a few days after someone says, we're definitely finishing this in 6 months, they immediately come back and say, no, like, actually, hold on. We actually might not be able to. And they're coming back and saying, like, let's not make a promise that that we don't know that we can keep. I mean, not that it would live up to the same scale at all, but I mean, look at what happened with No Man's Sky. There was obviously a lot of miscommunication internally within that team to a point where, you know, there was evidently they weren't on the same page about what was happening with that game. For something to have followed up so quickly to say, we're going to be out in 6 months, and then immediately someone says, actually, like, hold on, let's backtrack on that and not say things that we can't do.
Right.
This is a very good thing, I think.
Okay.
And it shows that they're also not going to rush the game itself to meet an innocuous deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Katie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think when they said it was 6 months, they didn't have in mind that it would take off as much as it did. So with the amount of money they've been getting, the amount of attention they've been getting, I think that they need to adjust and realize, like, hey, we can take a bit more time to work on this and polish it, I guess. That's kind of the impression I'm getting. Is like they can afford to take that extra time off because they have a larger amount of people to I guess live up to or impress. You know what I'm trying to say. But yeah.
And the article even the article features what I'm assuming is the author's opinion at the very end. It says perhaps the scope of the project has shifted in light of such success, which I think is very reasonable observation. I mean, if this game didn't take off the way it had, maybe they would have stuck to a more simple game plan. But now that they have experienced such success, who knows? Maybe they're broadening the scope of what they want to do, and as a result, I have to put in a few more elements before they can actually say this game's out of early access.
Yeah,
absolutely. Planning for the future.
I think one thing that it made me a little bit nervous about was I liked that they were pushing and saying, like, no, we're not going to be in early access forever, because one of the things that people are sick of hearing about is these fucking early access games that come out and they stay in early access forever. So we're not hearing that they're not, like, he still gave it end of Q4 of 2017. Like, that's still like something, again, it's not he's not promising that, but he said that that's what they're pushing for. And also the fact that the game and all signs with Battlegrounds as far as the updates and everything else and the optimization, it's like this is not a DayZ-like situation or some of these other games, right, that come out and they just are broken or just really rough for a super long time, taking tons of money, skins and all kinds of stuff. like we even talked about the cosmetic aspects last week with Battlegrounds, where like they haven't released any skins. Like they don't get like the cosmetic stuff is clearly on the back seat to getting the game to where they want it to be. So like at first I was a little alarmed reading the article because I kind of like, here we go again. Like they're going to say 6 months and then it's going to be 3 years down the road. And this game's still going to be early access and it's going to be the same story. But I really don't think, and like you said, all the fairness of like, I don't think they ever could have expected the level of success that they've had right now. So you're going to change, like your goals and your targets are going to change when you have that much success.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
I mean, I think you've talked about it more than I have.
Yeah.
But even just comparing the numbers of what H1Z1 is right now,
Yep.
Compared to what PUBG has grown into.
It's crazy. Yeah, we're gonna actually, you know what? We'll rope this next story because it's kind of in the same vein. But PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for a short amount of time topped CS:GO in concurrent players.
Yeah.
Really?
This week, yeah. Then that's insane. So taking a look here at the picture, so we know that it's been very successful, but obviously Counter-Strike is, you know, a pretty nutty, you know, at any given time there's going to be tons of people playing Counter-Strike. So for them to actually surpass, let's see, taking a look, when was this screenshot taken? Looks like it was pretty recently, but yeah. So they had CS:GO at the time had 238,742, whereas Battlegrounds had 239,000. So again, just edging it about by a bit. But when you're getting into those kind of level of numbers with a brand new IP, right? I mean, again, the Battle Royale is a new genre or anything like that, but the fact that it's, you know, in early access, a game like this kind of competing for that kind of seat. And I think, I mean, we talked about H1Z1 numbers. It's still growing, but as far as like amount of people playing, it doesn't, you know, Battlegrounds eclipses it by a pretty incredible amount. I think like the top concurrent was like 74 or 80,000 or something last week, which is still very good, of course. But you know, just comparing it to the metrics.
Yeah, and like I feel like the part of this article that says, you know, it tops CS:GO is almost sort of the clickbait part of the article.
Sure.
The fact that their concurrent players are even within that.
That's what I'm saying.
That's within that
crazy.
scale.
Yeah.
Is actually like the focus here. I think. I mean, that's a crazy number of players to have in such a short period of time.
Exactly.
And I mean, again, we just talked about this, but the game is still in early access. I mean, that's a crazy amount of success, and now it's having similar player base to what's becoming a very long-standing competitive shooter. That's crazy to me.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, just more. I mean, again, keep our eye on it. So a bit of a bump, I don't know, in the road, a bit of a change of a 6-month guarantee to be out of early access, but I think all signs still point to I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm sure they'll stumble along the way. Like you know, no game is perfect. You're always going to piss off your community doing certain things. I think it's just the way, because you can't make everybody happy. But by all accounts, they've been doing a lot of the right stuff. And I think what you said, Yang, was really important, was the communication, the levels of communication. That's one thing we often don't see out of the early access stuff, right? Where they'll say one thing and then they'll be silent for a long time, and then there'll be this update. We're like, we realize we pissed off our community. We apologize. But that kind of communication isn't. It's only done as like a stopgap measure, right? And it's not done as like you feel like you're actually along for the. Like I read, like Brandon talks about this, but I read all the patch notes for PUBG when they come out. Like, and I haven't done that for a game for a long time. Like generally, but I'm like really interested and invested in like, okay, what did they do? What did they change? Because it is like you really are kind of watching it come together before your eyes as you play it. So. Yeah,
and like once you have that investment into a game, you're interested in. It's weird how interested you get in those very small changes. You know, like a setting changes, and you of course you got to go and toggle it and see how it affects your performance. And it's like, what kind of game does that to you? Where it's not even really about the game anymore, but it's about its development.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Care about it.
So there you go. So a little bit of some information on PUBG. All right, let's talk about this situation, because this is a story in which we've covered ZeniMax a bunch, and they're usually suing, right? They're usually the ones putting out the lawsuits.
Yeah.
Well, this time, ZeniMax is getting sued, and they're actually getting sued with looks like a situation in a case that the person bringing the lawsuit against them has some serious ground. So why don't you, Yang, if you want to kind of take this a little bit, because I know you really wanted to talk about this, but this is very interesting.
I think what's interesting about this article is twofold. It's first of all the lawsuit itself, which I think from what this article makes it sound like there are some reasonable grounds for it. The lawsuit itself is for $1 million, which I'm sure that's not a huge slap in the face to ZeniMax at this point, but nonetheless, that's still a large lawsuit. But what also interested me was not just the legal side of it, but some of the comments that accompany the gentleman who's laying the charges.
Oh yes, yep.
So basically, what the situation is that Fallout 4 has a couple of live action ads that I'm sure you've seen. They're extremely cinematic. They're very well done, and the one in question is about a minute long, and it's all live action, and it features a song by where is his name?
Dion DiMucci.
Dion DiMucci.
Yeah.
I feel like we both probably
butchered that. DIMUCCI. How would you say that, Katie? DiMucci? I don't know.
But
DiMucci, I think.
DiMucci.
Yeah, evidently ZeniMax had an agreement with him to use one of his songs for promotional purposes. But one of the conditions was that for certain advertisements, they had to have his approval to actually use the song. He needed to see the commercial and actually give additional consent to have his song used for it.
Right.
ZeniMax violated that. Apparently, they used his song for this live-action trailer without consulting him, and so DiMucci is now charging for damages, essentially, for not providing consent to use his song in this particular trailer. And that's all that's all fine. It seems like he has some reasonable grounds to lay those charges, and that's from what this article makes it sound like he may at least be compensated for some damages. What I thought was really interesting was his issue with the ad in the first place. So if you do happen to see this trailer, I don't know if we can link it or not. It is a very passive ad. It's the wanderer or your character wandering through the wasteland. It's to some very nice music.
Yeah.
And there's maybe about a collective of about 5 seconds of implied combat. And from that 60-second ad, I'm going to quote.
The quote. Yeah.
The ad itself is repugnant and morally indefensible, portraying homicide in an appealing way. The commercials were objectionable because they featured repeated homicides in a dark dystopian landscape where violence is glorified as sport. The killings and physical violence were not to protect innocent life, but instead were repugnant and morally indefensible images designed to appeal to young consumers. In The Wanderer, Dion gives...
I'm just that gif. That's what I'm seeing right now.
He somehow, from this advertisement, has taken the images of this wanderer walking through towns as wandering from one location to the next, armed and hunting for victims to slaughter. This is a very detailed objection to a 60-second ad that features about 5 seconds of combat.
A little bit of a stretch.
What really gets me about this is that did he have absolutely no idea what ZeniMax intended to use his song for? Like, was he just completely out of the loop of what Fallout is? Because first of all, the character you play, I mean, everyone knows for Fallout that you kind of play the way that you want, and I'm sure there's enough people that do wander from location to location, slaughtering innocents. But I don't think that's ZeniMax's vision for the game, and for him to have somehow come to that on this 60-second commercial is kind of crazy. Which is it's interesting because I think the grounds that he's charging them for are perfectly stable.
Right.
But his objection and how far he's been able to take. How far he's been able to take his complaints with this 60-second ad is pretty crazy.
The quote.
I don't know if you have thoughts on like how, on what his perspective must have been, or why he has such a detailed objection to this ad.
It doesn't say his age in here, does it?
I'm sure we could find it.
You know what? I'm gonna look up right. You're right. I can just Google his name. Let's do it right now. Let's see how old this guy is.
Oh, here we go.
Let's see.
Oh, he's an older gentleman. There's a black and white photo. He's 77.
He is 77.
Oh,
because I saw someone in chat say this sounds like the ramblings of a 77-year-old man. Coney, if you just guessed that,
wow,
I'm gonna be freaked. But maybe you Googled it. But if you just said 77 randomly, okay, yeah, no, okay. Coney's saying that he just guessed.
Yeah. Oh, and that's true. Sorry. In the article, they also mention what his song is actually about, and his song is about a man traveling from town to town, having sexual relations with many women.
Oh my.
but
That's a
but
much
this
better
is
moral standing.
Listen, it's morally the violence though is inherently more.
But like,
more...
if you look at the ad, there's a very short scene of combat with super mutants,
right,
and a very short instance where your character shoots a giant cockroach, and that's all the combat that I saw from that advertisement.
Maybe he watched a different. Like, what if somebody showed him like a snuff film with his song, and he's just.
Oh my god!
It's like
what got me curious is like I when I was reading his comments, I had to double back through the article. And I said, is this actually did PC Gamer accidentally embed
like the
wrong incorrect
thing?
trailer?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I actually can't think of any Fallout trailer that features your character going from one location to another, hunting for victims to slaughter.
Right. I liked also that in the article it says that despite his negative reaction, the documents notes that he wouldn't have rejected the use of the song entirely, like you said, if he had been allowed to view the commercial prior to airtime. He would have asked that they focus on the post-apocalyptic struggle for survival without craven violence. But it's like you said, like he clearly has no idea what Fallout is at all.
Even for audio's sake, if you all you have to do is go on YouTube and search Fallout 4: The Wanderer live action, and that's the trailer in question.
Right.
And it is one of the most passive, calm Fallout 4 trailers I think you can find.
Yeah, it's pretty tame.
Yeah, it is very tame. But for him to somehow take, I guess, serial killing out of this is a little bit. I need to know his train of thought and how he arrived at this. I feel like he must have seen something else of the game out of context,
right?
And just sort of applied that to the fact that his song is featured in one of their trailers. Like maybe his comments aren't directed at this trailer directly, but evidently that's what the lawsuit is about.
Yeah, I do kind of almost get the feeling that he is talking like to something maybe just greater than the ad, because it does sound like a more kind of general. I don't know, because it says defendants' commercials have no redeeming value. They simply entice young people to buy a video game by glorifying homicide. But like you said, it's hard to square that with what they showed.
His use of the word homicide is interesting too, because at no point does it show one human killing another.
Right.
Right. I'd love to see some alternate universe where they commissioned his music for Doom.
Oh my god! Can you imagine? Or what about the game Hate? Remember that controversial game Hate that was banned? Now he'd have a point. I'd actually like if Hate, like I'd be like, okay, I can.
Listen, if I made any song, if it was just me talking over that game, I would have an issue with that.
You would absolutely have an issue. Anyway, yeah, that's a great little piece of information, and the fact that like. I guess we'll have to keep an eye on it. I'll be interested to see if they just end up. I feel like they're just going to settle. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to fight it.
That's the interesting thing. Like from a strictly litigious perspective, he does have all the grounds to win this lawsuit.
Right. Exactly. So I could see them saying like, we don't want to go to court. We'll pay you out and we'll change the music or whatever for the. Yeah. But yeah, very very interesting.
Not only that, hold on. Like, how long has this live action trailer been out?
Yeah, that's true too.
They
had to send it. He lives actually in a mountain, on a mountain somewhere. Well, in a mountain, and so they had to.
This trailer has been out for almost 2 years.
Right, Yangity. But they had to get it onto a VHS tape, and then they had to put it into the minecart, and it took a 1.5 year journey to reach him, which then he had to. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So I think he's just getting to it now.
They had to also ship him the television and the VHS player and.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
all the instructions as well.
It's a lot to do. So, but yeah, no, you're right. It has been out for a really long time. So,
I see this, and I think it's obviously someone saying, "Hey, here's a way you could probably get a lot of money."
Right.
That could be it too.
It's very true too. Like maybe he didn't realize. Like again, if he's older, he probably I don't know, which he is 77. He probably maybe didn't realize like the scale, like the. When he heard that, like, oh, they're going to use it in Fallout, he's probably like, what is this, some indie project or something? Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe he didn't realize
this could even been handled by a team of his, like a legal team that just say, we sold the rights to one of your songs, and he only now just found out what one of them was for.
Exactly. Could definitely be that.
Right, yeah.
Or not the rights, but the licensing, yeah.
I could see that.
All right. So, moving on from very angry 77-year-old men to very, this segue. To very angry early access developers who have no right to criticize anybody ever.
Boom.
Dean fucking Hall, okay? And I'm not saying he doesn't have a right to be upset, but Dean fucking Hall, of all people, to be criticizing games that are in early access or not. Don't you have a Mount Everest to be climbing, okay, Dean? But I say that every time. That's my only thing. But so Dean Hall recently did not like Ark's price increase, which I agree. We can agree, but I also can say those who live in glass houses, like throwing fucking stuff, and the fact that he's still getting, I guess, PC Gamer wants clicks, and we're talking about it. So I mean, I'm just as part of the problem as anybody else. But they decided to do an interview with him. He called the Ark's price hike, where it went from, was Ark $30 and it was $60 now? I think that's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jump from 30 to 60 a month before its planned departure from early access.
Right. So lots of things to be questionable, question and be mad at. But again, it's like, who's the person doing this, right? And he said that Ark's price increase, he called it fucking outrageous. All caps, by the way. Apparently, he's a huge fan of the Dino Survival game, but he says that it's nowhere near ready for the $60 price tag. And I get it. I'm not saying that he's priced like he's charging $60 for his stuff and all that. Do you think? Here's a question. I didn't even think about this before we get into this. Do you think there's some jealousy here?
I mean, I was just thinking
Possibly, like the game he wanted to make, or like that he sees himself living vicariously through.
Oh, you're seeing it like maybe very specific. Like this is the game that he wanted to make.
Or not even that, but it's just like he looks at this and it's like, God damn, I wish I could have gotten DayZ to this point. Before,
yeah, that's what's it. I was saying it's like a month before its planned departure from early access, and this is when he blows up. Yeah. And he's just like, a game leaving early access?
Right. Exactly.
Impossible.
You can't do that.
Maybe he'll make another statement on PUBG when it leaves early access.
Right. Yeah. What if he gets he gets mad again?
He just has a list of games that are coming out of early access and the appropriate statement that he's going to write to PC Gamer about this.
He tweets at player unknown amateurs.
Oh God. Anyway, so there's just an interview, and he's just very upset. So I mean, we don't have to talk about it too long, but I think it's just like the elephant in the room is like when Dean Hall. I'm not saying he's done the exact same thing, but a lot of people have issues with DayZ and his whole approach and how like. So I just can't help but question, like, there has to be a little bit of maybe some jealousy going on or whatever, something internally that he's this upset. Okay, here we go. I love that they're in the anything else you want to add section, because I'm not going to read his full interview, but you can check it out. But he says there is a general obsession with gamers about how long, and then they italicized long, a game is in early access. We should be I mean, and again, it's so self-serving. It's fucking Dean Hall to a T. We should be encouraging games to stay in early access. This is I know he doesn't talk like this. I've seen him talk. Until they are finished. Not accepting games leaving early access because the developer wants to put retail boxes on the shelves. The standard that I hold a game up to is not how long it took to get to the finish line, but where the finish line was drawn and how much it charged to get there. I mean, it's literally a soapbox for him to rant about the fact that he's been mistreated because DayZ has been infinitely in early access, right? I mean, you can't not read it any other way.
Early access.
Right. So he's mad that the metric is, no, fucking finish it because it's too long. And that you get away with all kinds of bullshit calling it early access. Like, people have legitimate points, Dean. Like, I don't really think you're going to be able to shift the argument. Like, we can say that Ark shouldn't be charging $60 when they're about a month out from, putting out a finished product. But don't come at me. Like, it's just, to me, that like basically reveals the whole self-serving nature of his comments here. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Because he knew he would get an article on PC Gamer and be able to push his like, it's not fair that people expect games to be finished. Like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
wow, what a weird.
One of the most helpful reviews on the DayZ store page right now just says DayZ is the reason I no longer trust early access games. I mean, that's like what your game is known for now.
Right.
I mean, I sort of understand his emotional turmoil, in that sense, if that is indeed the driving force. But
it's just,
God, that's.
It is. It is actually. I'm so
now.
glad that you added this because this really it's just a perfect kind of look into the mind of somebody who's just sick of being shit on as the guy who destroyed the early access name for most other games. But it really, like, the DayZ issue is still an issue, and then it also set the precedent for so many of these other games. Like, that's why I mean, it ties back to the whole PUBG talk, but the fact that PUBG was pushing that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the guys from PUBG are looking at DayZ and say, let's not do that.
Sure. I think they got to be the model.
A lot of games that now look at DayZ and say, let's not do that.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that's got to be tough. Like, I get it, Dean, but you know, shaking your fist at something that Arc does as outrageous, you know, it's just like, again, it seems like there's not a lot of self-awareness there, perhaps, or maybe he just knows that he's just fed up and he doesn't care anymore and he's on tilt, which I can relate to that. But
he says he's also a huge fan of the Dino Survival game. Can we find his Steam account and see if he actually has a lot of hours in it?
Yeah, that's actually a great.
That adds a lot of validity to what he's saying.
That's a great.
But if he has like 3 hours in it, then it's really self-serving because now that's him just trying to cover his tracks. But
actually,
I think I believe him on the face of it because that's a very like passive comment to make. But I also want to iterate that it is crazy that Arc is doing that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, let's not lose sight of with our Dean Hall anger that is nuts. And what possible reason other than greed can we come to? I mean, I agree with him on that point. Like, I'm not in that community, but I can imagine people are like, what the fuck? Like, I would be pissed.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you played Ark at all, Katie?
Oh, me? No, I have not. I have friends that do, so I want to reach out to them and see like what their thoughts are. But yeah, I've been told it's good, but for a game like that, I really can't see it like jumping up to like a full AAA resale price, you know.
Got it. Sorry, I just did a quick search for Dean Hall on Steam, and it gave me 60,132 hits of people named Dean Hall, and all the first hits are memes of his face with one. The first one is Dean with the sunglasses on his face.
Oh God.
Okay, so I'm not going to try to find it, but if somebody wants to do the research, let's see how many hours he actually has in that game. That busts the story right open, actually, now that you say that. Like, can you imagine if we find his actual account and he doesn't even have the game purchased?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you have to email
really
PC Gamer.
Trying to cover his track and say, oh, I'm a big fan, but...
Right, exactly.
It's like actually Steam refunded in the past.
Yeah, he's refunded.
Shit. All right.
Oh, man.
All right, moving on from early access stuff to games that are actually out and in a very good state, but constantly evolving. Jeff Kaplan has broken his silence. Not that he doesn't talk to the community during, about the patches and stuff, but it's kind of sexy actually reading this article a bit. He's like kind of taking charge and saying,
yeah, I appreciated the stance that he took here.
Yeah. He says Overwatch is balanced and he likes the dive meta just fine. And he's not really, as much as the community likes to complain, he said that Blizzard is not going to rebalance the game just to change up the pick rates. And basically, in a nutshell, he says he doesn't think that all the characters need to have equal pick rates. Like, that's not what they're going for with the way the game's designed.
Right.
And I kind of like this because we spent a lot of time, or we have in the past, talking about games that absolutely fucking blew it. And there's no game more in my line of thinking, and obviously it's on a totally different scale, but a game like The Culling, which, yes, I know, but a game like The Culling that came out before PUBG and all these other Battle Royale imitators that will no doubt be coming out. The Culling was a game that came out. It wasn't perfect, but it was fun. It had core mechanics that were really good. And then they listened to their community, and particularly the Reddit community, and tried to make a game based off of the whims of angry people that spam Reddit. And no joke, that is what they did. So they did things like they totally took out all of the perks in the game and did an update to try to balance the game.
Oh my God.
That was something that the Culling devs did. I mean, it might be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, but that's what they did. They didn't take one out at a time to see how it affected. No, they were just like, perks are OP. We're going to take them all out and see how they balance. Like that, and it eventually just killed the game off. There's like, I think it had a peak of like 4 people in fucking China playing the game today. So,
oh my God.
And that was a game that was top on Steam for about, not top, but in the top 3 or 4 for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Very popular.
Lots of people were playing it. And
the thing is too, they were so ahead of the curve on releasing a game that worked and that was sort of like a battle royale style. Like they were very early on this.
They were, and they absolutely
to
had.
unfortunately have like shot themselves in the foot, or maybe taken the entire leg off at this point.
Yeah, I think they've basically chopped their leg off, and they did it to themselves. They just. I would see them. I was on the subreddit. I would see them responding directly and being like, "Okay, that's an interesting point. We'll do that." And it's like, it doesn't mean that you don't take input from your community, but so much. And as much as I like to rally against certain things that happen in a game that I really enjoy, I also am not a game developer, and I don't know what breaks certain things, and I don't have the full breadth of knowledge that a studio has working on a game. And so, yes, you want to listen to your community, you want to do stuff that makes sense, but a lot of times I think you can argue that the community doesn't know what they want. And your job as a developer is to make something fun and also kind of dictate to them. Like if they play in a franchise that you came up with, you have that overall vision of how you think it should be played. So it's like there's definitely a balance. Like you don't want to alienate your community, but you also don't want to be a slave to them, because then something like the culling happens. And I know that obviously Blizzard is not going to do that, but it's interesting for someone like Jeff Kaplan, who's like the face of Overwatch, obviously, to come out and say like, hey, listen, like we're not just going to change this because people are complaining. We think like this is part of how we think about the game. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I really appreciated Jeff Kaplan's stance here. I mean, I had to actually look up what he means by dive meta, because I don't follow Overwatch competitive scene or sort of how the game plays. But it looks like dive meta is basically all-out aggression on single enemy, single opponents,
right?
Trying to basically melt them and destroy the other team's composition for a little bit, which sounds pretty basic to me. Like I don't mean in the sense that it's easy to do, but I mean that sounds like a reasonably fun meta.
Right.
But for him to actually go and say like people complaining that X hero is not being picked very often, and for him to say that's fine. Not every hero needs to have a place in a single type of meta.
Sure.
And I think we can contrast that with the way that other games the way that other devs have been taking their games. I mean, I'm not sure that they've done this very recently, but if Counter-Strike is a good example of I think devs that have been trying to make every gun viable. And is that really necessary for the game? I don't think it is.
No, absolutely not.
And Overwatch has obviously like a similarly, I don't know, a competitive mindset.
Sure.
And for them to actually look at certain heroes and say, no, that hero doesn't have to be picked. He even mentions that one of the heroes, Ana, is top pick amongst one of the elite players and doesn't feature in the quick play meta. I'm not sure if that's different from the dive meta. I think that's just referring to the game mode.
Yeah, the game mode, and so like less, so like not playing ranked and stuff, and just playing, just jumping in, casual audience.
But to say that there are other heroes that are being picked, and it doesn't have to fit into what is the most popular competitive way to win games. I mean,
right.
And essentially prevents the game from just catering to. I think that what that overall will prevent is it prevents the game from catering to one way to play it. Even if it's not seen as the most effective way. If you're catering all of your heroes to try to fit into a single meta, then there's only going to be one way to play that game.
Right. And I mean, it's tough. And in a game like Overwatch, where you're constantly adding to the roster, I mean, it's the same problem that MOBAs have, right? Like League of Legends in particular. I mean, there's so many fucking champions, and at any given time. And the one thing it's like to try to balance that, it really is something that constantly evolves. It just has to. And even the way people play, like one term that I think is really fascinating in the MOBA sphere is secret OP, right? And you hear that if you don't play MOBAs, you probably have never heard that. But the idea is this champion has remained untouched for like 6 months, and then some player in the game that was either a streamer or really good at it started being like, "Holy shit! Look at these fucking." Like, look with this item, look how fucking much damage this character does, right? And then people start using that character again, and people are like, wait, since when did this character come out of the... It's like, no, the character was here the whole time.
Yeah.
This is a huge... Like, people will find ways to make characters viable. I mean, sure, there are certain nerfs that devs will do where you're like, okay, it just doesn't make any sense. But for the most part, the game will constantly be evolving because that will happen all the time. And as the roster continues to expand, like, sure, certain characters will fall in and out of favor, but that's just the way that it works. And in that sense, Overwatch is very similar to like a MOBA, because it is essentially a first-person MOBA. And
that actually brings up an interesting point too of like once you start balancing other aspects of a game, I almost start asking the question, what's the next thing that needs to be changed because they balance one thing. Now, what's the other thing that's overpowered or that people complain about? And the thing that kind of strikes me is from a Counter-Strike perspective.
Sure.
How long was the existing the way that it was pre its recent nerf?
Right. Yeah, forever.
And like the was like that for a very long
Secret
time.
OP.
And there was like a couple of people that would always buy that on the second round and farm with it.
You're
but
right.
because there were other guns, mainly the Tech 9 when it was like really, really crazy, and it's still kind of crazy, that people would pick up over that, or the MP7, or before some price changes, and all the while the was sitting down there.
Yeah.
That's
a great point.
I mean, if you ask anybody about the pre-nerf, people say, "Oh, it was crazy," but it was like that for a very long time, and just no one noticed.
Yeah. No, totally. That's a great. Yeah. I guess I said that it was specific to MOBAs, but no, you're absolutely right. Counter-Strike, shooters and stuff like that. Absolutely, it does constantly change, and you never know when something's going to pop up where it's just like people just overlook this, or it's just there's so many people playing and so many different variables that it's always going to evolve. So yeah. Anyway, kind of cool. Check out that article. It is on PC Gamer. They basically do an interview with him, and he kind of just explains a little bit more about his thoughts on the balance, and that they're not just going to change it because people are complaining because they don't like the dive meta. So. Anyway, so yeah, kind of neat on that, and I think that's going to do it for new stuff. We didn't have a ton of stuff, but just a few things that we thought were interesting that we wanted to talk about. So Katie, let's get into the new releases this week. Last week we only had one game because it was so unbelievably groundbreaking.
Yes, but I was just informed.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Fidget Spinner.
Fidget Spinner, yeah.
But I was informed by somebody in chat that Fidget Spinner is no longer on Steam.
It got pulled. Oh no!
It got nuked.
Oh no!
Yeah, if you click the link from our doc from last week, it just goes to the Steam homepage, and going on his developer's other game, Noob Squad, you go to other games by that developer, and it's just that and his other breakthrough title, Gabe Newell Simulator 2.0. But there's no Fidget Spinner to be found. So
that's unfortunate.
Damn, Antonio Rena, I don't know what's going on, man. I'd love to get a follow up. But and you're welcome to come on the cast.
Yeah, we'd interview him. We'd interview the Fidget Spinner guy. I'd ask him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Open invitation.
I'd love to hear. Yeah, do you think he has Fidget Spinners in real life he can display for us? Or?
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do an interview on camera and see if he had any of the designs, like if he made any custom ones that he planned to put in the game, because we may never be able to get to see it, at this point.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah, go for
Gotcha. All right, well, let's hit these new releases this week, which are looking kind of juicy. I'm going to save this one to last, this first one.
Okay.
I'm going to wait until last for
I
that.
see what you're doing there. Okay.
Yeah, let's end it on a good note. Well, good is very
on a fun note.
A fun note, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, first up, there's this old Super Nintendo game called Wild Guns that's being remastered on Steam. Wild Guns Reloaded, coming out July 11th. Looks like some good local co-op, fast-paced arcade-style shooter, which looks like they did a pretty good job polishing it up and looks kind of fun. Looks very
it does look fun.
Old school, yeah. Looks pretty cool. But yeah, that comes out July 11th. No word on a price, though. Next up, a game called The End Is Nigh, which is the newest game from Edmund McMillan. Of Super Meat Boy fame and Binding of Isaac fame, which... upon first glance at face value, looking at this, I think, oh god, he's just redoing Meat Boy. But you look at the gameplay a bit more, and it looks like there's more of an emphasis on precision platforming in it, and it looks like things have been changed enough to keep it fresh. It doesn't look like he's just remashing Meat Boy, but yeah, this looks fun, and he's made, he's got some pretty successful games, Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac. So I'm excited to see if this will live up to that hype. But it comes out July 12th. It's going to be $14.99, but if you pre-order it, you can get it for 10% off.
Nice.
And so look out for that. Next up, now this game, I will admit, it looks kind of shit, but I think that's the point. It's called Mad Sector. That's Mad-Sector. And it looks like an old school, like Doom, Wolfenstein kind of game.
Oh, wow.
It looks exactly like one of those old classic shooters.
Yeah, definitely. Like you can only turn two ways.
Even the way the doors open, yeah.
Yeah, definitely going for that vibe. And I really like the appeal to it, where its description on Steam says it's 1992. The stores are flooded with games. A bright box catches your eye. Walking to the shelf, the box reads Mad Sector, and that's it. But yeah, I like that kind of it's definitely appealing, you know.
I'd be interested to know what they want to sell this game for.
Yeah, usually with these
$60. No.
60. Yeah, it's definitely a $60 title. I mean, I would pick this up for like $5.
It would be a fun little yeah. It's a cool idea.
Maybe some good ideas, you know, locked away in here. Some good innovation, but you know. But yeah, no word on a price yet, but it comes out July 14th if you want to blow it on your wish list so you get that based Steam notification when it's released. But yeah. And next up, before our grand finale, it is a game going into early access on July 13th called Tower of Time, which is a isometric classic RPG with an emphasis. It looks like it's going to be storytelling. Storytelling is a big focus, and going from the gameplay, it looks like it has a kind of unique combat where it involves like sort of like Transistor is what I'm seeing, where you stop time and plan out your actions, or slow time. And but yeah, it does look fun.
Yeah, this looks interesting.
Yeah, so no word on a price, unfortunately, but it's from developer Event Horizon, which that's their debut game. Oh, anyways. And it did win Best Storytelling from White Knights Prague 2017, which I assume is like an indie game show, but yeah.
Oh, a White Knight gave it a good score, so that's good. So
yeah, it must be very respectful. To
very
all
respectful.
And,
like I was just gonna say to all of them, tip the fedora, tip it.
Yes, absolutely. Kiss the thesaurus, and yeah, amen. Yeah, July 13th. No, wait, what am I saying? They're probably all atheists. No. Anyways, that's another topic. But finally, we have a game that I don't believe is made by atheists. I believe it's made by good, God-fearing people.
Oh God, Katie, why you gotta do this to me, dude? Why you gotta do this to me?
On July 11th, this fated game, Minecraft Story Mode, comes back for round 2 with more episodes. Minecraft Story Mode Season 2. It comes back on July 11th. Are you ready? Are you ready, APL? You gonna tackle this game?
Yeah, do you feel like you're gonna wait for all the episodes to release and then play them all at once?
Absolutely. The thing that I have going for me is if I do tackle this, it is going to be another 13, 14 hour all through. God. I'm gonna, a marathon. I'm not gonna play them. Absolutely not gonna experience them like 1 week at a time. Like we're gonna do this all at once.
So. You know what's really exciting? I'm looking at the screenshots, and it looks like we have some recurring characters. We have some of our favorites coming back. Which, Scott, I know that you probably have been missing this original cast. So you're going to get reunited with some of your old Minecraft buddies here.
They're so amazing. They pulled you in the first game, and the fact that they're bringing them back.
I really like how Petra will raise an eyebrow and then blink.
Absolutely.
And then your character sometimes raises an eyebrow and blinks.
Yep. No, this is like, you know what it is? You know what I think Minecraft Story Mode, the first game was? It was akin to, everyone was super excited. It was a great product, don't get me wrong. It was Titanfall 1 level. But Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 is going to be Titanfall 2 quality. It's going to revolutionize horrible writing, terrible music, generic plot, filth and dribble that isn't even reserved, shouldn't even be exposed, like showed to 2-year-olds. It's going to take all of that, and it's going to be the best of that, if that makes any sense. So,
okay,
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I cannot wait to watch you play this.
Yeah, I have to imagine you're conditioning yourself now to hit all the QTEs.
Yes, of course. Well, yeah, you gotta. I'll be practicing that.
I know there's no punishment if you don't hit them, but
I mean, you can just put the controller down. It doesn't really matter, as we learned.
I did that. I unfortunately have played the first couple episodes of Minecraft Story Mode, and if you do not hit any of those QTEs, nothing happens.
Damn.
Or something. Well, in two senses, either there's no punishment, or the game will hang infinitely, waiting for you to press left arrow.
Yeah, it doesn't. It just stops there. Yeah,
that's the worst. That's so good. Yeah, damn it.
Anyways, coming soon.
All right, yeah, it's gonna be $24.99. But if you want to pre-order it, it's 10% off, guys. You can do it. Oh my god. All right, but yeah, other than that, I'd say that was a spicy new release.
Yeah,
section.
very spicy.
Promising.
You know, with my luck, they're gonna really like all the episodes are gonna come out like super fast. It's gonna be like a week or 2 weeks, and they're just gonna be like, yeah, here are all of them.
Oh God.
Like, please.
Yeah, they're all gonna be like 45 minutes long.
Give me the buffer time.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not saying Minecraft Story Mode has more players than the culling right now, but it does. So live with that. Thank you, Dex. Man, the culling just getting absolutely massacred.
That's
again.
a real not like this.
Yeah, that's rough. So let's move on to our viewer questions here. Our first one comes from ID Witter, or Dwitter, or Idwitter. And he asked us, what is the best way to transport a PC during a move? That's a good question.
I would love to hear your answers for this. I've never had to deal with it.
I'm pretty fucking lazy, man. People always say take out your video card to be safe. Like, I have never had to fly my PC. I've actually always ever driven. So I've never had to ship it either. I would really recommend never shipping your PC if you can avoid it.
No, oh my God. I would not want anyone handling my
It's-
PC other than me.
It's only ever gone horribly for the few times. One time Bob shipped a PC, like a small LAN machine to me to try to use when I lived in LA at my parents' house, and it was the entire it had been handled so poorly that all the inside components, and he had taken like pretty good, like great care as much as he could, like to lock everything down. It was absolutely destroyed by the time it got to me.
My God.
And that was like a computer that's kind of meant for transportation. It was like a super small form factor, and like the insides were all gutted up. It was like, so don't ship your PC. I mean, for the times that I've transported it in a vehicle, I just try to put it in an I usually wrap it in like some insulation or like blankets and stuff like that. I think removing your video card is a good rule of thumb because that's something that can move around a bunch. And then you just pray, man. You just fucking pray that it boots up when you get there. I don't know. Like I'm sure Brandon would have a more specific technical answer, but
yeah, definitely. You know, honestly, I think I would say the best way to transfer your PC is to just don't. Like if you're moving, let's say you're moving like to a place where you can't possibly drive it, like you have to, you know, you have to like take a flight. I would, I'd take the video card out. I would just separate all of its components and package them separately and just
send it. Yeah,
that's
safe.
Harvest what you can, and consider like I would even go as far as just taking out the motherboard by itself, and like maybe this would be maybe incorporated in with the time you want to upgrade. Like maybe I'll get a new
Katie's
PC.
like literally don't send your PC in one piece. Just
you don't
dismantle it.
I'd rather.
I mean, that's that is a safe way if you're going to transport it. That's safe. But
that really. Sorry, go ahead, Katie.
No, I would go as far as to take the motherboard out, take the CPU cooler off. Definitely, I think the RAM might be safe, but like it just honestly maybe carry on, but. Yeah, it's tricky. It's definitely not like a console.
Don't do it. Avoid it as much as possible. Yeah, definitely. I mean, a console, dude. Those things are indestructible. You don't even have to strap it to. You just put it on top of your car. It's so heavy because it has such sick hardware in it. It won't even move at all. So, yeah, consoles are pretty nice.
You could probably just launch that bitch from your departure, like to your destination, and it'll land in maybe some trees nearby, but it'll sustain
it'll be
some
fine.
Probably minor damage, but
Whoops, I died in chat says I drove my PC across the country, just took out the video card and put it in the case box, and that's what I did every time I moved my PC, and it was fine. I mean, as long as it'll be pretty resilient. Yeah, case box is good because you have like the styrofoam, and it'll be somewhat sturdy in there and won't move around a ton. So
which was what I was gonna say.
Keep your box.
A good rule of thumb that I've actually stolen from Volition whenever he was talking about this a while ago.
Yeah.
It's such good practice whenever you buy any PC parts or even for like a mouse or a keyboard, just to keep the original box, just so that if you have to move it, you have a box that was meant for that particular piece. Even like a GPU, you can actually slot it into a space that's meant for it and have it transported that way instead of trying to find a way to protect it in like a shoebox or something.
There you go. All right, so some good tips. I hope some of those help, my friend. Thank you for the question. Aunt Meme on Twitter asks us, if you had to give up one of the following for a basic model, which would you choose? So I don't know if I understand this question. Mousepad, mouse, or 120/144 hertz monitor. Excuse me.
Okay. So basically he's saying, would we rather live with like a small basic office, like $5 mouse pad?
The pleb version of all these things. Right. Got it.
And like maybe like an analog mouse
Oh, this is tough.
or a 60 hertz monitor.
So he says one of the following. He doesn't say each.
Yeah, so you have to give up one. So say you pick the mouse pad, you have to live with that crappy mouse pad, but you have your nice like Logitech mouse and 144 hertz monitor.
Man.
I would definitely give up the mouse pad.
I think
absolutely.
I think you go with the mouse pad, but man, that would get freaking annoying. Like
Yeah,
one of those
'cause you just
super
constantly-
small. That's a good question.
I'm thinking
honestly,
about the one
that's
that I
what I'm
have
working
at
with.
work, which is about the size of my hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
It's not
God.
good.
That's what I'm saying. Like you
Yeah,
could
the
get
one
saddled
I
with that, and then you just have to up your. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do. Either you use no mouse pad if you have a desk that can, which would be terrible. Like you would have to up your sensitivity a ton because you don't have any space to work with.
Here's the thing, dude. I'm measuring mine right now, and my mouse pad is the size of my hand. So maybe I don't know the glory of having a
What?
really large mouse pad.
No.
I have like an absurdly large, like the big Steel Series.
Yeah,
it covers most of my desk.
Oh my god, I'd love that. But yeah, I'll move my camera real quick.
Show me
I
your
have
mouse
this
pad. I want to see it.
really, really shitty stuff. You remember my desk, right? It's this really bad, like, yeah, I have my keyboard on that pull-out wood right now. I really do need a new desk. This thing is an antique.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Hey.
All right, what's up? So yeah, we got the keyboard, and then
Oh my
God.
God, Katie! You actually have one of those
It
mouse
is
pads.
I know,
What
I
the?
know.
You
It's
have
terrible.
what we're talking about.
How do
I
you
know.
already have this set up? Okay, guys, can I wait?
know.
What does it say on the mouse pad? Can we get that?
It's some Spanish.
It's some random.
It's got like a calendar on it.
It's a
2013.
It's got a 2013 calendar on it. It's something you
Feel
would get.
how comfortable this is. It's so plushy.
Katie, please.
Oh god.
That's something that you would get like walking out of a store or something that they would
Right.
hand you and be like,
Look
"Hey,
at the keyboard.
come back
Right,
and shop again."
Yeah, where did
Oh, I know.
Katie? How did you
Sorry,
come
guys.
to this mouse pad?
Masika.
Let
Yeah,
me be honest.
How did
I
you-
found it.
Where?
Found it? Either I found it or it was like a gift that one of like my maybe. I can't tell you honestly. I think any response I give you
I
is
love
just
the idea
yes.
of like you're walking down a sidewalk, it's a nice sunny day, and there's just a mouse pad rolled up in a gutter. You're like, don't mind if I do.
Katie,
Yeah,
I
just
don't.
take it.
I don't know.
This
Like
is the face of
you
man
have yet to
struggles.
experience like an actual legitimate mouse pad. Then, holy shit, dude.
Oh,
You're
no.
nerfing yourself so hard, and also your space
So,
limitation
like
too.
just like even just the basic Steel Series QCK, or yeah, and just like you'll
Nice.
feel so nice gliding your mouse on that.
Right. I mean, I do need to like.
Holy.
Well, before I can even get a better mouse pad, I need to do something about this desk because like that's what's holding me back.
Masika
I know.
is a tortilla manufacturing company.
Why did they make a mouse pad?
Why, dude?
That was literally given to like their employees for Christmas, 100%, and
Oh
like
my
as a
God.
stocking stuffer or something. There's zero chance.
Oh no. Oh, it's garbage. But
Alright. Well, the mouse
So-
pad for you makes sense. So I mean, you're
Yeah,
you're living
all-
it. You're literally
that.
living that question.
yeah, I don't know the glory of a good mouse pad, so
God,
I have to
hate to say
default
it,
to
but
that.
I might have to go with the 60 hertz monitor. Like and
Ooh.
What?
and
Mm.
recently my monitor did reset to 60 hertz and I felt nauseous. But
I
I just
know.
can't
Ugh.
imagine having to like hold one of those awful analog, like the terrible like white
Mhm.
plastic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or having like a really nice mouse and not being able to utilize it because I'm on this terrible little mouse pad.
That's true. Oh god, but
At least with a
144s.
monitor I can adjust because at once upon a time I did play on a 60 hertz monitor and I was fine. So
Right.
I think that would be the best adjustment period, or maybe we do. I mean, maybe we cheese the question a little and we keep the mouse, we keep the monitor, and we just don't use a mouse pad.
Right, and you just say yeah, because you could if your desk was smooth enough, and obviously most people it's optical for if you have a ball mouse, then we can't talk. But
I should say real quick for audio listeners, I don't know if you gave a description like when I was doing it.
yeah, I
but,
tried. Yeah, sorry, the laughter
Okay.
was Katie. Katie actually turned his camera and showed us the Masika mouse pad that he's using. This is why you
It's,
really need to watch live because you like sure on audio it doesn't really translate, but it was quite a moment. So
You can also
Um,
watch the dog kind of run in her sleep right now, and it's really cute.
yeah,
Pause
it's really
in a little.
Yeah.
My cat's
Just snorts loud as hell.
My goodness.
But-
All right. Well,
Good
great question. That actually, I mean, Katie, we need hashtag get Katie a new desk. You need a new desk and you need a new mouse pad. We need to get you.
I do. Yeah, I gotta save up.
Even you don't have to just go to IKEA, buy one for like. How much? Do you want like a seriously solid wood oak desk? Or, I mean, you could just get some IKEA furniture.
I just want like, I mean, I need to do my research. We'll talk about it after the cast.
Okay. Yeah, we need to get you upgraded because I think it's gonna really change your like. When you get a nice mouse pad, more space, you're just gonna be a monster in every game.
Yeah, because like, yeah, I see like I watch other people like stream and they're just. Everybody I see, they play on low sensitivity.
Right.
Like I've always had to play on high sensitivity because I literally can't. Like I always have to like.
I mean, it makes sense now watching you when you play Counter-Strike. I would watch your sense, be like, Katie, what sense do you play? Because you're so jerky. But now I realize that you're on a mouse pad that is basically the size of your hand. So,
I was a little bit focused on the mouse pad, but do you also have that set up on a keyboard tray, like a pull-out?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I thought so.
That's one thing I could do. I'm gonna pull it back around again. Here's what we could do.
Yeah.
We could try to salvage this desk. Let me zoom it back out.
Okay.
Sorry, audio listeners.
Right now, Katie is showing us his desk again.
Yeah, we're just looking.
Oh, I dropped it up the stand.
We're on Katie's end's floor. Oh my God! I saw a cum tissue under the bed. It's okay.
Oh no! What's this?
What's that? His crotch.
Sorry.
All right,
oh God.
Okay.
We're looking at Katie's end's crotch now. We're back.
Yep. Oh, there's his balls.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay. No. Oh.
Right at my
Audio listeners, it actually is his balls, but it's his balls energy drink for real.
Yeah.
So Yingity was not being facetious.
Broadcasted live.
Okay.
This is what we've got here. We've got this wooden desk, this dinosaur,
yes.
And then you've got the pull-out tray
the
that
pull-out
I'm forced to
tray.
put my keyboard on. Because if I try to, what I want to try and do is I could probably move this on the top of the desk and like push my monitor back,
right?
Or my monitor's back, and maybe I need to remove, like, I need more camera arm communication. But I need maybe remove this whole wooden like tray part.
Yeah, so he has a pull-out tray on the. Yeah, I think if you remove that, there looks like a decent amount of surface area. You could push your monitors back, pull yourself closer. I think it would be way better. I don't know how much.
That's exactly what I've done with the desk I'm on now. This desk that I'm sitting at right now used to have a keyboard tray, and I instead took that off entirely and just put my keyboard and everything else just on top of the desk. And there's more than enough room for that. So I feel like you could probably pull that off.
It might be a good cheaper option. Buying a new desk. So, okay. Well, this has been very enlightening. As almost every podcast with Katie is, we learn another interesting fact.
Another horribly embarrassing thing.
I don't know about horribly embarrassing, but it's more just it's context, really.
This is like, oh God, this is on par with you thinking that like my couch was just facing the wall
with no TV. I was like, Katie, is that just
like, oh well, I like to sit and think.
All right.
Nothing scarier than being alone.
That's all good. Listen.
Right.
All right. Well, we'll get your desk situation figured out. But thank you for your question, Aunt Meme. Yeah, and I think I would go. I didn't give my final answer. Oh man, now that you say that, it'd be so hard for me to go back to 120 or 60 hertz. But if I'm stuck with a shitty mouse or a super shitty mouse pad, I don't even think I could enjoy my gaming experience at all. At least at 60 hertz, I would know it would suck. But there's a lot of games that 60 hertz is fine for also, to be fair.
Yeah.
If you're not playing a shooter.
I say that like my monitor swapped to 60 hertz and I felt sick. I was trying to play Counter-Strike.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And let's just say we can't cheese the question. Like we still have to use that mouse pad. Otherwise, I feel like that would be the obvious answer. Just like get used to not using a mouse pad, maybe.
Right. All right. So good. 2 good questions so far. All right. We've got an email question from Brian, and he asks us, if you had to choose one aisle of food generally found in grocery stores to eat from for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
Oh, man.
And then he says, magical forces prevent you from eating food from anything that isn't in your selected section of food. For example, if you choose a meat aisle, you can only eat meat the rest of your life.
God.
Crap.
Now that sounds nice, but I think I'll go with the produce aisle. So that's vegetables and fruit.
I think that's I was just gonna say, not the fun aisle, but at least for me, because eventually. But if you're long-term sustainability, I think the produce aisle, you would survive the longest.
Yeah, that also sounds like it would have the most variety.
And it would have variety.
Yeah, I would just essentially just go vegan, basically.
Yeah, you basically would have to. Yeah. If you're in that produce aisle.
The first thing that came to my mind, and this is probably maybe a little less sustainable, but At least at the grocery stores I've seen, they always have sort of like I don't know if this is what they call it, but like it's sort of like an Asian foods aisle. They'll have like an aisle full of like noodles and soup broth and jerky and spices and usually like pickled vegetables. Like I feel like that could be an okay choice too, because now you have all these different soups, all these different noodles. You have some meat products in there.
Okay.
I was gonna say maybe even and then the canned food aisle, which has like again
Canned food would be a
pre-prepared
good
stuff.
choice, too.
Like it would be a variety, like you said, soups. Even I guess you'd have to prepare some of it in the box stuff. But okay, we're getting a technicality saying, is the produce an aisle or is it a section? And I guess it depends. Yeah, produce section. But there can be aisles. Oh, that's a good point. Most stores, for me at least, it's a section.
Yeah, it's
not
like
an aisle.
many small, I don't know what to call it, like carts in sort of a more open area.
Right.
As opposed to like literally two shelves lining a walkway.
Yeah. Katie should pick the mouse pad section. God damn it. Okay.
I mean, you could just go frozen food section if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, if you really...
That is definitely an aisle. Now you're looking at pizzas, frozen vegetables. They also have frozen fruits, so I mean...
That's true.
Maybe frozen is the way to go.
The problem is, though, at
Actually,
least at a
now
lot
that I
of
think about
grocery stores, there's usually multiple frozen food sections. So, like, even if you choose the pizza aisle, you're not going to... The vegetables and stuff are at a different frozen... I guess... So are we talking about, like, if it's frozen in general, does it count? Like, so even if it's separated, I guess in my mind, I'm just thinking of grocery stores that I go to. But I guess frozen food aisle is a general category, so that could be fair. So you're right. You could get some variety there.
Yeah, I think you might. I think maybe depending on the store you go to, I would just choose the one that does have some of the frozen produce, because then typically you still also have some other frozen, like frozen fish or something like that in that aisle. So I guess it's a gamble, is depending what your grocery store is, but I think that might be the way I go.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I think we're going to nix produce from it because I don't think it's an aisle. I think it's a section.
Yeah, it does sound like a section. That's a good point.
So I'm with you. I think I go frozen. You know, you get your you can get your bag of peas, right? Put those in the microwave, and then you can microwave a nice hot pocket, dude. You know,
and you know what? You're going to be very economical if you go with that aisle.
Right.
You're buying like big bags of frozen vegetables, and you're going to save some money.
Exactly. Katie, if you have to switch your produce, what are you going with? You think?
Let me see. I'd probably end up going meat.
Okay.
Really?
So there's definitely a lot you can do there, but it's tricky.
Okay.
Yeah, you take me out of the comfort zone. You take me out of my one true answer I feel confident about. Now I'm thinking,
I'm sorry.
Candy. We'll do the candy aisle. We'll do the book aisle. If I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out reading some great books that are never gonna get picked up by any publisher.
The greeting card aisle. That's
the greeting card aisle.
I'll live off of terrible puns. It'll be great.
I'll live off of good thoughts.
Good thoughts, though. Yeah, there's some okay cards. That's true. Okay. What was I gonna say? All right, yeah, no, I think that's it on this section. But all three of these questions have been very thought provoking. Yeah. I'm impressed with you guys this week. All right, we've got a continuation of there was the novel last week, if you remember, the novelization of the KBMOD screenplay on the novel Push by Sapphire. Love Muffin has gotten his hands on some more of the screenplay. And
oh my God, it's so long.
It's very long.
Holy. All right.
Katie, if you would like to check it out, he says, "Greetings, esteemed food bloggers. I was able to get the second part of the novelization of the KBMOD screenplay based on the novel Push by Sapphire, a choose-your-own-adventure book."
What?
Official title, and I thought I would send it to you. Last week you chose A. Denny's, so here is the result of that choice. I love that he is crafting this as we respond. This is some new meta, isn't it, Katie?
That is awesome. This is literally a choose your own adventure. And I'm skipping ahead. There's another choice at the end of this email. This is revolutionary.
Are you proud? Are you proud that some of the seeds you've sown are finding fertile ground?
Oh my God. Yeah, this is great. And I'm even thinking about, we talked about one of the donation incentives for Extra Life being like a live action recreation of this.
Yeah.
But now it's going to actually be a short film.
Exactly.
What's going on here? But yeah, I'll take it away if jump into this. Love Muffin, thank you again. But all right, let's jump in. So KD walks into a smoke-filled Denny's restaurant. He looks around at the waitstaff, They watch him carefully. He approaches the waiter and notices a purple Twitch shirt under his uniform. I'd like to. I'd like to speak. I almost laughed. I'd like to speak with the one they call Papa Ba. The waiter shoves a greasy hand in Katie's mouth. Shush! Don't say that name. The waiter stealthily looks behind him for approval. The cook nods. Right this way, sir. Katie walks with the waiter down a long hallway filled with, ostentatious electronic sports awards. He stares in awe at some of the gander ones. Medal of Honor Allied Assault, trick jumping. Hearthstone, Big Spender. Tribes Ascend, Skiing Grandmaster. Finally, they come to a dim room, and in the only light, sitting on a throne made from the freshest gold-plated meme, sits Papa Barndor. God. Katie whispers the name under his breath. I need your help, says KD. Family video is after my memes, and I need to know why.
Oh my god, this is good.
Well, then let's save them. Oh, wait, no. That's not the line. That's not the line. My bad. Well, let them have them. Says Stentorian? Stentorian voice emanating from the throne. I'm tired of them trying to sell us confession bears. They copy-pasted off of 9gag. God damn. Oh my god. You don't understand, shouts KD. I once let someone use my memes. They were too powerful. He went nuclear, and Philadelphia was leveled in the meme-splosion. What was his name? Says Papa Barndor in the softened tone. Katie wipes a single bro tear from his eye and screams, his name was Hardballer, and he was beautiful, and he had never eaten sour cream, not even on a taco. Oh my god. There is steel in Papa Barndor's eyes, and he says, I don't know why Family Video is doing this, but I think I know someone who might. Wow. Do Katie and Papa Barndor go to A, West Coast wing restaurant, B, a hipster donut shop, or C, post-meme-apocalyptic Philadelphia?
Oh my god,
dude.
Wow. Round of applause. That was...
Love Muffin, you are just on it, dude. I just want to know what happens next, dude. I am fully in on this choose your own adventure.
Oh,
holy shit.
Well, this is tough because West Coast Wing Restaurant and Hipster Donut Shop have both returned.
Right.
Which that makes me think there are some ideas chilling in Love Muffin's head that he wants to express to us in some of those places. So there's some good ones sitting in there, but post-meme apocalyptic Philadelphia, I don't know if that's a dangerous place.
That's very dangerous. Yeah.
Right now it's Katie and Papa Barndor. Right. This is sort of like an RPG we have going. Like this is what we need to make an RPG maker.
True.
We've got our party.
True.
Maybe we could recruit some more members and A or B. So I'm gonna casually suggest the Hipster Donut Shop.
Okay. It's honestly your choice, I think.
It's my choice. Okay.
I mean, we can agree but it's your adventure, really. But I'm down with the Hipster Donut Shop. I think that would be very interesting to see.
I feel like the post-meme apocalyptic Philadelphia is sort of inevitable.
Right.
So maybe do some exploration before you pass that point of no return.
That does sound like that sounds like a trigger in the game, or like a point of no return.
That's like if you go there and it says after you complete this sequence, you may not be able to visit other parts of the world. Are you sure you want to continue?
Exactly.
I love seeing that in games, by the way. There's something to
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Before we hit the final boss, let's hit up that donut shop.
Definitely.
Love Muffin. Thank you, dude.
Love Muffin. Keep them coming, dude. Fantastic.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's going to do it for the questions and the emails, but keep those coming. You can always email us. Obviously, we ask for Twitter questions at the beginning of the podcast. So usually like an hour or two before, we generally try to go live. Depends on the week. Sometimes we go live a little after 10:15. Sometimes it's like 10:45. We're trying to button it up. Sometimes it's 10 if Brad's here and needs to get to bed early. So, but yeah, thanks for the questions. And I think that's going to do it for episode 285 of the podcast. We would have a iTunes podcast review of the week, but we don't have one for the third week in a row. So nobody's leaving reviews on iTunes anymore. And you know what? I'm going to stop asking for them because I'm just going to expect that somebody will help our drought here soon. The only requirement is, if you're going to do the iTunes podcast review of the week, is you need, or be featured, is that the review has to be 5 stars. You can put anything in the body of it, but just give us 5 stars because that is what we deserve. You can follow KBMOD Gaming on Twitter at KBMOD Gaming. You can follow Yingity Yang at Yingity Yang on Twitter. Again, thanks, Yang, for filling in. It's a blast as always. I feel like we have a very crispy chemistry with you already, and you've only been on 2 episodes, so it's a good time.
Always a lot of fun to be on, for sure.
Yeah. And Katie, you can follow Katie Zen at Katie Zen 18. If you want to tell him, maybe shoot him some ideas for what he can do with his desk so that he has more space to get a nice mouse pad, feel free to hit him up on there. Also, pimp your YouTube properties. And actually, Yang, you also stream as well occasionally, especially with, for your Extra Life goal. So I didn't let you do that. Obviously, you're twitch.tv/Yang as well, right?
Yes.
For that,
and all of my streams are in support of Extra Life. I also have recently joined the campaign that Extra Life is doing for its for subs for kids and bits for kids. So a lot of affiliates a lot of people who have been streaming for Extra Life also qualified for the affiliate program, and we've been given, or we have the option at least, to donate all the revenue from all bits and from all subs to Extra Life as well. So we're still able to continue to support Extra Life in that way, and that also still allows us to have fun with the emotes and everything like that. So I'm also taking part in that. So all of my streams for Extra Life, I try to stream once a week at twitch.tv/YingItyYang.
Awesome. And Katie, have you uploaded anything on YouTube super recently? I feel like it's been...
I'm going to say, I think more than anything, if you want to get in touch with me, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch more. I think YouTube, I'm going to be taking a break. I really want to put more time into looking into game development, actually. So I'm going to be looking more into that. But I do like streaming. So definitely, twitch.tv/KatieZen18 if you're interested. Love interacting with you guys all the time. But
sweet.
So yeah, hit me up on there.
And you can of course follow me on Twitter at Volition, VOL1TION. I don't any longer play my favorite game, Tribes, because the game is dead. So it is unfortunate, but yeah. So definitely gained a little bit of weight this week as well, but it happens. Okay, I'll burn it off by the time you see me next week. So thanks again so much for listening, and we will see you guys for episode 286. Next week. Farewell.
Yatta!